think it was a member of their family, and it was from Rose, the godmother, and I forget the boy's name, but it's celebrating a birthday today, so I do apologise.
Right, send it through. We'll make sure we'll do it again on this programme. How's that? So if there's a request for anyone at Donaghy's motorhome,
yes,
from Rose.
Yes, from Rose, godmother.
Send us the rest of it back in and we'll sort it out, yeah?
Yeah, thanks,
right.
Greg.
Have a great day, Lee.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Have a good one. Okay, it's the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. It's time for a news update at 9, and it's Good Morning, Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The EU is expected to resume legal proceedings over what it sees as previous UK breaches of the Brexit deal. The Commission is also warning it will take proportionate action over yesterday's decision to proceed with a unilateral initiative to unpick parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. 52 of Stormont's 90 MLAs have written to Boris Johnson saying they reject his government's new reckless protocol legislation. But the DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson says the letter is pointless.
This institution in the Assembly can only be restored on the basis of a cross-community consensus. Majority rule will not cut it. That's what unionists were told over all the years. So to the Alliance, the SDLP and Sinn Féin, who have written this letter, without the support of unionists, the political institutions can't operate.
The price of petrol and diesel here has again hit record levels. According to AA Roadwatch Ireland, the average cost of a litre of petrol is now €2.13 per litre, while a litre of diesel is €2.05. Prices at some Donegal stations are considerably higher, with petrol topping €2.20 in places. Fuel prices have gone up 11% in the past fortnight, and Paddy Common from AA Roadwatch says the prices are only going one way.
It now costs the average motorist of a petrol car €750 more than last year to fill their car for a year, with the average diesel driver now spending €640 more per year than last year. Certainly for now it looks like they're going up significantly, judging by such an increase over the last 2 weeks. So if they increase at this rate, then it looks like it's only a matter of time before they reach €2.50 per litre.
Crumbling homes in Clare and Limerick are set to be included in the defective blocks redress scheme. Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien will ask Cabinet today to extend the scheme to the two new counties in addition to those affected by the crisis in Donegal and Mayo. It means a further 2,000 homes will come under the scheme, with the cost rising to around €2.7 billion. The government's expected to push for anti-inflation measures instead of a substantial pay increase for public sector workers. Pay talks are underway at the Workplace Relations Commission this week. It's expected unions will call for an increase to match current inflation, but a source told the Irish Times a small pay increase and measures to reduce services like childcare and health is the more likely alternative. And there were 28,096 disclosures of abuse against women and 5,735 disclosures of child abuse reported to Women's Aid last year. The figures are included in the Women's Aid Annual Impact Report. Volunteers also dealt with more calls in 2021 relating to surveillance and monitoring, humiliation and assaults with weapons. The Chief Executive of Women's Aid, Sarah Benson, says Ireland's unequal gender society is compounding the problem.
We live in a gender unequal society, and that unequal society is both a cause and a consequence of male violence against women, all forms of violence against women. What we know is that initiatives and interventions and collaboration for a more equal society help reduce male violence against women.
Today will be rather cloudy with light rain and drizzle at times. Some brighter sunny spells and highest temperatures of 15 to 17 degrees Celsius. Moderate south to southwest breezes. Tonight mostly cloudy with early light rain or drizzle clearing in temperatures of 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Is your home or motor insurance up for renewal? Now is the time to check if your policy still offers you the right cover and the right fit at the right price. To be sure you're getting the best deal, take this opportunity to shop around. It's easier than you think. Simply contact your insurer or broker today. Remember, don't just renew, review. For more information, visit understandinginsurance.ie. Brought to you by Insurance Ireland.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And a very good morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 14th of June. I hope you're well, and Hopefully you'll stay with us later on. You're going to hear Garth Brooks speaking to us on the programme, and that's coming up between 10 and 11. Also between 10 and 11, we are going to be hearing from An Garda Síochána and Donegal as they bring the latest appeals and information to you. Maybe you can help solve some of their crimes. Well, stay tuned for that. That's coming up after 10, but plenty on the show in the first hour. Stay right where you are. You won't want to miss it. 086 60 25,000. Your WhatsApps and texts to that number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Caroline and Donna Marie taking your calls. If you want to hop on with a growing number of people who choose to watch the programme, well, feel free to do so. It's just an option for you. We are a radio station after all, but we do provide this extra service for you. If you want to watch the show in your browser, go on our website, highlandradio.com, or you can stream it on your telly through Facebook Watch or YouTube as well. Check out Highland Radio there and get involved and join the conversation on the social media platforms as well. Right, let's look at the papers. We'll start with the Donegal Democrat, and more than €38,000 has been raised by Walk and Talk for B, a fantastic achievement. There were poignant scenes in Inver as family and friends of Breda Gallagher Friel arrived at her native home on Saturday evening after walking 80 kilometres. St Noel's Pipe Band Ardahi greeted the walkers and led them on the final stage of the walk, which had begun at the late Breda's adopted home of Newtown, Cunningham, in the early hours of the morning. Headed by Breda's beloved husband, Carol, and her children, her dad George, and weary walkers, they were treated to a hero's welcome. And fair play to Carol. We had the pleasure of chatting to him a couple of times ahead of that walk, and hugely successful. And as we talked to him in advance, obviously there's going to be mixed emotions there, but it's what he and his wife had discussed, and they made it happen. And fair play to everyone involved and all those that took part, and raising really a significant amount of money for some really good charities. So congratulations all. The Irish Independent tells us what we already know. Cost of filling up a petrol tank surges by €10 in a fortnight. Surging fuel prices have seen the cost of filling up a family car with petrol rise by €11 in the past fortnight. It'll now cost €750 more this year to fuel a petrol car than the annual cost last year, according to the latest survey from AA Ireland. A full tank of diesel is also costing families €5.50 more than 2 weeks ago. Diesel and petrol prices have risen by 11 cent and 22 cent a litre respectively in the past fortnight. Petrol prices have increased 11.5% in the last 2 weeks. So we all look towards the government, and particularly, I suppose, Eamon Ryan, the Minister for Transport. What's his solution to this issue? If you are struggling, what is he going to do? I'll tell you in a later newspaper. On to the Irish Times, they tell us that shocking figures from Women's Aid. It recorded 33,000 disclosures of abuse. More than 33,000 disclosures of domestic violence and abuse, including over 5,000 of child abuse, were made to Women's Aid last year. Women reported assaults with hammers, golf clubs and hurls, headbutting and strangulation, and being attacked with children in their arms. They were humiliated and degraded, forbidden from leaving the family home without the abuser, had access to car keys denied, and were denied sleep as an abuse. And very sadly, and you know, domestic abuse knows no county boundaries. There are people listening to this programme today, or the loved ones of them, who have been the victims of these types of awful crimes, and perhaps even maybe they are some of the people, too many, who still are the victims, but have yet to speak out for a whole myriad of reasons. Because if you have a partner who is that controlling, well, they're also going to try and control you disclosing what they're doing to you. So an awful lot of people, probably well beyond the amount that reported a disclosure of domestic violence, is suffering. And we stand with you, and I wish we could do more to help. If you wish to reach out to us, 086 60 25,000. Well, a total of 976 disclosed sexual abuse, including a beg your pardon. Well, I won't read that bit just because of the time of the day and with people perhaps still going to school. The charity's 2021 annual report published today shows while there were 9% fewer contacts from women compared with 2020, there were a 10% more disclosures last year compared with the previous year. On to the Mail. We'll go to the Mail next, because obviously the British pushed through with their plans to unilaterally change the change effectively, or to go against an international treaty. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has said it's regrettable that the UK is to renege on an international treaty, describing it as a new low point. Mr Martin said he rejects the British government's assertions that the EU has not been flexible during negotiations. He criticised the UK government's publication of a bill unilaterally amending the Northern Ireland Protocol. Speaking in County Cork yesterday, Mr Martin said the way to resolve the impasse is by negotiations. But of course, Boris Johnson believes with this legislation in one hand, he's an awful lot more to bring to the negotiating table. So he would argue this is part of his negotiation strategy. Well, Micheál Martin said it's very regrettable for a country like the UK to renege on an international treaty. I think it represents a new low point because the natural expectation of democratic countries like ourselves, the UK and all across Europe, is that we honour international agreements that we enter to. So it is a hardening of language, and language is important in these matters. It is a hardening of language by the Irish government through on Taoiseach. OK, so let's get to the Star now and let's find out what Minister Eamon Ryan's response to the escalating cost of fuel is. He says that Eamon Ryan, has been slammed for advising people to go to the local dole office for help if they can't afford petrol for their car. So the government solution, if you can't match these increases, is to go to the dole office. The Transport Minister angered motorists and consumers with his simplistic advice yesterday, leading People Before Profit Solidarity TD Richard Boyd Barrett to slam his suggestions. He said Mr Ryan either doesn't get it or doesn't care when he told ordinary workers to go to the welfare office for help to fill the tank. Mr Ryan dismissed calls for further relief for motorists facing soaring prices at the pumps. Instead, the keen cyclist said if people are struggling with paying for petrol or diesel, they should apply to their local social welfare office for special support. The Green Party leader said there'll be no more government help until the budget in October, leading Mr Boyd Barrett to hit out and fume and so on and so forth. OK, that's the solution. If you are struggling, go to the dole office. That's what we're being told. I thought it was interesting yesterday when the IBAL survey came out and there was a focus on coffee cups because, you know, a lot of these organisations, there's an attempt to seem like they've got the finger on the button and to be relevant. They talked about coffee cups, and I was talking yesterday before we come on air and I says, well, they're looking for headlines there, and I get that, and I've nothing against IBAL, by the way. It's just how the system works, okay? And we all know that takeaway coffee cups are something we need to address. But anyway, lo and behold, today, hard-pressed punters have been told they'll have to pay 20 cents more for their takeaway coffee amid the cost of living crisis. The government is set to slap the tax on cappuccino receptacles later this year. Retailers have hit back at the latte levy, with some saying it will be counterproductive as people switch from recyclable paper cups to reusable plastic mugs. Others believe it's the wrong move to make as inflation rises. So what do you think, though? Is it something? A lot of people out there, a lot of people buy a coffee. If it's gone up 20 cents a day, add it up. You know, it's not insignificant. Eamon Ryan quoted again. He insisted the charge is needed to reduce the wasteful use of plastics in Ireland. He said, I know there are some concerns, there always is. But the bottom line is as well, and we did see it with the plastic bag levy, that if a levy is applied at the right level, we do change our habits. So maybe, you know, there are alternatives. I think Lee brings his own cup and makes coffee in his cup, for example. So we can adapt. So maybe that's what we should do. The hospital services, the HSE services, already under great pressure. Well, it could perhaps get worse because junior doctors are set to strike in a row over long working hours, pay and annual leave. The Irish Medical Organisation announced that non-consultant hospital doctors voted in favour of industrial action up to and including strike action. More than 97% of votes were in favour of taking action over their working conditions. The IMO said the dispute focuses on unsafe and illegal working hours and the failure to pay junior doctors for all hours worked. The union claims junior doctors are required to work for an excess of legal and safe working hours, often in breach of the European Working Time Directive. It also claims doctors are also routinely required to work single shifts in excess of 24 hours. Now, I don't think there's any scenario where anyone should be working a shift of 24 hours. In this job, any job that you have out there that you're doing, you know, after a certain amount of time, your ability to do it at your best would fade, would pass, wouldn't it? So we have to come up with a better system. That surely is not the right way forward. 086 60 25,000. Texts and WhatsApps to that number. Your emails can come into us too via comments at highlandradio.com. Go on our website, highlandradio.com, to watch the show or engage with us on YouTube and Facebook. Just search Highland Radio Ireland. You'll catch us there. Radio, we have, as I say, lots to get through, so we've rattled through the papers. Join us after these for our first guests.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
You can do pretty much anything in just a few taps. Buy a car, book a holiday, and now you can even apply for a permanent TSB digital current account in-app in minutes. It's quick, it's mobile, it's the start of making your everyday banking easier. Now that's permanent support. Application in your sole name for over 18 personal customers and residents of the Republic of Ireland only. Qualifying criteria, terms and conditions apply. Permanent TSB PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
For all your training needs, Northwest Forestry Services Training Department Ballybuffet offer a wide range of courses from training bodies such as NPTC City and Guilds, QQI, LADRA and ABA International. Courses include all land-based services such as chainsaw, tree climbing and rescue, pesticides, working in heights and ATV training. Other courses offered include first aid responder, manual handling and building safety, to name but a few. For a full list of training courses and availability, contact Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet on 074 91 32033.
Sometimes it's just bad luck, but sometimes it's negligence. From minor bumps to life-changing injury, every accident has a story. Time to call McElhenney and Associates. They'll assess the situation, advise on solutions, and lead the way if any litigation is to follow. From motor accidents and workplace accidents to slips, trips and falls, call today on 074 917 5989 or find us online. Let's get you started on the road to recovery. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. How can we help? In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Rally fever is building in the Northwest. Join Highland Radio for live coverage of the Donegal International Rally, on air and online at highlandradio.com, in association with Voodoo Venue Letterkenny, Donegal's premier entertainment venue. For this Rally Friday, playing live, it's Sailor Bill.
Okay, so as we all know, I think at this stage, the UK government has published plans to get rid of parts of the post-Brexit deal it agreed with the EU in 2019. It wants to change the Northern Ireland Protocol to make it easier for some goods to flow from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, but the EU opposes the move, saying going back on the deal breaches international law. Gregory Campbell's an MP for the DUP, and he's back on the show. Good morning to you, Gregory. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Yeah.
Right, okay, so what is your party, or your, as an individual, your reaction to this move by Ms Truss and Boris Johnson and their government?
Oh, it's a good start, but it is a long overdue start. You'll be aware that there have been discussions at various levels going on for about 18 months. We indicated at the very outset that the protocol would be damaging both politically and trade-wise. And I think the last 18 months has demonstrated that's the case. So we've been pressing the government, and they have been assuring us repeatedly over and over again that they would take steps to remedy this. Mm-hmm. And they haven't really done anything up to now. So the bill was tabled yesterday. So it's a start of what might be, hopefully won't be a long process, but at least it is a beginning. Now you need to get on with it now.
Right, so as an act of good faith, does this pave, so in good faith, can the DUP now facilitate the establishment of the executive and get Northern Ireland working again?
Well, there's two things there. Remember, we've been here before. There was an internal market bill that was supposed to get around the protocol, which the government previously tabled, and then they withdrew. So, they withdrew that because they claimed the EU were negotiating and were going to come up with something better. And of course, that didn't happen. So we want to be clear that doesn't happen again, that they've tabled a bill and then next month or in 3 months' time they withdraw it. So we've got to see that through. The other thing is that if we talk about good faith, that has to be demonstrated by action. It's no good the government just promising that they're going to proceed with this. We need to actually see that happen. And remember, up until we took the decision that we did on the Assembly and the Speaker, there wasn't any movement between our government and the EU. Some people talked about discussions and negotiations, but it didn't seem to bring any progress of any kind for 18 months. And we've now seen more progress in the past few weeks than we saw then. So why on earth would we move away from something that has got progress? Let's keep making the progress.
But in not going allowing the formation of an executive, from your comments there, it sounds like you want to keep Boris Johnson over a barrel, but really it's the people of Northern Ireland. It's those that you represent in terms of being able to release all those funds to assist them during this cost of living crisis. It's really your constituents. It's the people of Northern Ireland that are paying the price here in this standoff.
Well, it's not a case of us trying to keep Boris Johnson over a barrel. It's a case of trying to make sure that he lives up to his word. He promised way back 2 years ago that there wouldn't be an Irish Sea border. He made all sorts of promises, and unfortunately, up until now, he hasn't lived up to any of them.
But even the bill passed yesterday, Gregory, there still will be an east-west border. So even if
how do you read that in the bill?
Well, now obviously you would have a much more intimate knowledge than I would, but my understanding is if goods are crossing from Britain into Northern Ireland and on into Europe, i.e. the Republic of Ireland, they'd still have to go through checks.
Yeah, well,
that's a border.
Well, we've never expressed any opposition to that. We fully understand that the EU want to protect its single market. And therefore, any goods coming in, they have to be assured that those goods are of a similar standard to goods that are moving elsewhere through the EU. We fully understand that. But that's only for goods that are going into the EU single market.
But it's still a border, though.
Yes, but it's into the Irish Republic.
But it's in the Irish Sea. The border is still in the Irish Sea.
No. But if goods are coming from Britain and are destined for the Irish Republic, i.e. the EU single market, we have no great objection to those being checked. Our objection is to goods coming from GB and staying within the UK, coming to Northern Ireland, that they're being checked. That's the point. The Irish Sea border is an effective border within our own nation. That's the problem that we have protested against for 2 years, and that's what needs to be removed. Not a border into the Irish Republic. If they want to check goods to protect the EU single market, that's their affair, and we don't have an objection to that. It's doing the same thing when goods are coming to this part of the United Kingdom. That's the problem we have.
Yeah, but were these green and red pathways not agreeable with Europe anyway? I mean, the EU have said, the Irish government have also said that, yep, that makes sense. I think Sinn Féin have said it as well. They're open to that as well. So what am I missing here? Because that sounds like, if that were one of the red lines, sounds like something that, and I hate to use the phrase because it's overused, there was a landing zone there on that issue.
Yeah, well then, what's the problem? Why are they getting so uptight about the bill? If the bill has red and green lanes, which it does, and they say they don't have a great objection to red and green lanes, then why are they throwing toys out of the pram over the bill which has the red and green lanes?
But do you have a distrust of Boris Johnson? There's a lot of people that know much more than I that believe that this is a negotiating tactic, that he's no intention of ever really, that it'll take forever to get passed and enacted, and that really maybe he's sort of using the DUP again, or playing with the DUP emotions in a very simple way of putting it.
Yeah, well, if our view was and is that Boris Johnson is not to be trusted, all the more reason then to ensure that this bill makes significant progress through Parliament. Because if if I say to you that no, we don't really trust him because of what he's done in the past, then the answer to that is, well, why on earth are you trusting him now? Let's see the progress of the bill before you make any move, which on hindsight would be deemed to be foolhardy because you didn't trust him and yet you moved anyway.
All right.
Let's keep making the progress.
But in the interim, like, what is the problem with going back into government in Northern Ireland? And as I say, yourself, the hundreds of millions of pounds that would be available that you could put to work in Northern Ireland for the people of Northern Ireland. Like, and sorry, this is a simplistic question. Like, what's wrong with saying, right, we've made a bit of progress there? It's not a one-way street. You could always U-turn on that. What's wrong with going in and getting Northern Ireland working for the people again, getting decisions being made in Northern Ireland? If you don't fully trust Boris Johnson, can you fully trust London to make the right decisions for Northern Ireland in other spaces? Why not get in there and start working for the people of Northern Ireland again? I know work goes on, by the way, outside the executive, Gregory, but do you get where I'm coming from? Why not? Why not just get working?
Yes, I do. And the answer to that is very straightforward. If we look back over the course of the past 18 months, the Assembly was up and running, the Speaker was in place, executive ministers were carrying out their duties, and we were told repeatedly over and over again, the protocol issue is going to be sorted. The EU told us that, our own government told us that, even people who were cheerleaders to the protocol said, yes, there has to be changes, but nobody ever produced anything tangible by way of radical change to the protocol. Over the course of that time, when everybody was at their work, executive ministers were carrying out their duties. Now, within a matter of a couple of months, when an election result shows that unionism is at one with itself in terms of needing to see radical change to the protocol, now, within a short period of time, there is going to be, it would appear, at least a beginning of radical change to the protocol. So from a logical point of view, I would say, well, all the discussions and talks that were going on when we were in government and executive ministers were doing what they need to do didn't amount really to anything. And now, in a few weeks, we've got progress. Let's get that progress done and dusted. Let's get on and try and get all the bread and butter issues, the day-to-day issues sorted that people really want to see resolved.
I know we can sort of pick out individual cases about how it's complicated for one company to do business with Northern Ireland, or some companies from Britain not operating in Northern Ireland because of all the paperwork and issues with trees or things like that there. But the reality is it not, Gregory, that Northern Ireland, out of between Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England, Northern Ireland's economy is doing the best. A lot of people in business seem to think that, whether we like the protocol or not, or what elements of it are working or not, as a whole, Northern Ireland is doing really good. And now what this does, really, it throws more uncertainty into the situation. It could restrict maybe people expanding business in Northern Ireland or investing into Northern Ireland. The economy of Northern Ireland seems to be in a really good space at the moment, and now a decision has been made which could damage that.
Well, I've heard that, and people usually say that that's as a result of the protocol, when it's not as a result of the protocol. We're not doing fantastically well, but we are doing better than other regions in the UK. That is certainly true. The reason for that is the so-called dual market access that people talk about, i.e. into the rest of the UK, and then into the Republic and into the EU. The absence or the presence of the protocol will not prevent people doing business on a cross-border basis. And the reason that won't, if the protocol was removed tomorrow, you would still be able to buy and sell across the border, because there's no way your government, our government, or anyone else would be able to stop that. You couldn't physically stop the transfer of goods and services across the island of Ireland between Northern Ireland and the Republic and vice versa, because we have hundreds of crossing points that couldn't possibly be manned. And you would have trade and services going on as it has done from time immemorial.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need
protocol. You could use that argument, say, why have any agreements at all? Why have any unions? Just if you can't enforce the border, just do whatever the hell you like.
But the EU demand the right to and retain the integrity of their internal market.
All right.
And that's something that I understand, and they want to establish that, and we're content to have something in operation that would do that, provided that it doesn't preclude us from our internal market within the UK, and that's what the protocol presented the problems with.
Gregory Campbell, thanks for your time this morning.
Okay.
All right, take care of yourself. That's MP Gregory Campbell there. Your views 08660 25,000. We were talking yesterday about parental alienation, some of your comments that I didn't get to. Parental alienation is mostly caused by women, in my experience. I don't think that was highlighted enough. I does, like, in terms of like blaming one gender, blaming the other, or man blaming woman blaming man, I presume if we are addressing it and we're trying to fix it, it doesn't really matter, does it? What the case is there. I don't know what the facts are anyway in that regard. I think our guest yesterday said that was the perception, but what we're seeing is it changing a little bit in the other direction as well. But this caller says, if a woman has separated because of a violent partner and then her partner gets shared custody, she does not want her children involved with their father, for she can't move forward with him in their life. She can't recover from her fear of thinking he'll do something with the children to hurt her. Another caller says, I'm a fella in that situation. A man has no rights whatsoever, only the right to pay. I don't see my children. My heart is broken and I can't see myself staying in Ireland for much longer because it's becoming too much. I'd love to see my children again. And of course, the children probably think daddy's not interested in them or doesn't want anything to do with them, and that would be very hard to take as well, I'd imagine. Just letting you know, there's a lady driving around the South Donegal area. She's stopping people, offering a bottle of perfume if you'll give her money for diesel, as her mum is ill in Belfast. It's happened to my mother. So just to be careful, people are obviously using the fuel crisis as a means to try and extort money. So this person is going around offering items in exchange for money to purchase diesel to go and visit their ill parents, wherever it might be. So just, be careful out there. Just it's nice to be nice, but you don't want to be sold a pup either, as the old saying goes. I work in a petrol station, and on Tuesday we had a fill in our tanks, and on Wednesday it came down in price. We were then expecting to sell our petrol and diesel at a loss of 15 and 20 cent. And the abuse we took over the price, and despite trying to explain that we only just got a fill and couldn't sell it at a loss, was terrible. Then the other thing is we are constantly abused about it being cheaper elsewhere. Why don't the public realise we are just workers, and many of those cheaper stations are not paying wages, as the forecourts are often unmanned? It's really important, the frontline staff who have no hand, act or part in anything like that, be it in an office or petrol station or shop. It's not their problem. They're getting paid often, not an awful lot more than the minimum wage in some cases, and it's not them making the decisions, and they don't deserve the abuse. We had a fuel delivery person who contacted us a week in advance of the latest increases, and he told us exactly where petrol prices was going to be. I wonder, is he listening again today? Let us know what's going to be happening next week, because he perfectly accurately told us that petrol was going to be the very next week between 2.17 and 2.20 in most places, as it was. So maybe he's listening again and can give us a further inside track. All right, 08660 25,000, your WhatsApps and texts. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Some good news coming up next, because we're going to be talking about a major golf competition coming to Donegal again, to Ballyliffin. We've got a couple now. The Ballyliffin Golf Club will host their event in 2024, and that's the significance of these events. They're announced that far in advance. And of course, we've got that Legends Tour Paul McGinley's involved with, taking place in Downings later this year. So it's all go. Stay with us. We're going to be talking about that with two guests, and also a little word too on the Cabinet. Its discussions over the defective block scheme. That and much more. Garth Brooks, of course. Garth Brooks is coming up later on in the show.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Have you bought your NCBI Radio Bingo book yet? Contribute to this fantastic charity and be in with a chance to win daily cash prizes of €400. Books are now available from your local retailer.
trees, grass, allergies. You won't take me down. Don't let pollen ruin your plans. Say yes to life outdoors with fast-acting, long-lasting, 24-hour relief. Telfast Allergy. Now available over the counter from your local pharmacy. Telfast Allergy tablets contains fexofenadine hydrochloride. Always read the label. Distributed in Ireland by Clonmel Healthcare.
If you're thinking of changing some furniture, a huge sale is now on at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. It's a chance to save hundreds of euros on floor model suites, beds and mattresses, dining and occasional furniture, with reductions in all departments. It's a great opportunity to grab a real bargain in the big sale now on at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny. See mcginleysfurniture.com.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank. Come on down to the annual Finn Valley Show on Russell Brothers Farm, Killygordon, this Saturday 18th of June, with the usual dog, home industries, poultry, sheep, cattle, horse and pony classes, and fast and furious donkey derby, with trade stands, show and shine tractor competition, live music from David James, and children's entertainment. It's sure to be a family fun day at the Finn Valley Show. This ad is sponsored by Kilpatrick Brothers Contracting for all your agri needs: mowing, raking, baling, GPS sowing, slurry or manure spreading. Call Ray or Davy on 087 212 1760.
Okay, our guests now are John Farron, manager of the Ballyliffin Golf Club. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Greg.
And also joined on the programme by Councillor Martin McDermott. Good morning to you, Councillor. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, I was going to say thanks for having me on. You haven't got your own show yet, have you?
Good morning, Greg. No. I could interview you if you want.
No problem whatsoever. It would be boring, but anyway. John, listen, it's great to have success at the club. It's great to host big tournaments, but really what you want to do is build on it, don't you? And sort of make your venue a mecca for golf, both nationally and internationally. That journey continues in 2024.
Indeed, Greg. That was a fear from having staged the Irish Open in 2018 that... having broken through that glass barrier that we would be forgotten about. So it was always our intention to try and continue in that vein and further develop our relations with both the European Tour and the RNA. And we're absolutely delighted that we're going to stage the world's biggest amateur event in 2024, the Amateur Championship, which is going to be hosted on both links here in Ballyliffin in June 2024. It's staged by the RNA, the governing body of golf, so no better endorsement or recognition than in the world of golf than that, really.
Yeah, and this is this is where the future stars are born. There's very few playing the game now that haven't come through tournaments like this. We'll probably have people playing in this tournament that will feature in some of the majors as well in the same year. That's the level of competition we're talking here.
Yeah, it is the very elite of the amateur game. So, the past winners of this event, Greg, are like a who's who of golf now. And these guys are just about to break into professional golf. So you're getting them at the very best in terms of amateur status and just before they turn professional, most of them. And really, we're very hopeful that we'll have a young Rory McIlroy or the next Rory McIlroy as part of the field, or maybe a number of those type of individuals, and we look forward to hosting them here in Ballyliffin.
And you're in a very good position in that normally this event is held on multiple courses, but you've got courses of a standard on the one site that allows you to host this solely, which is pretty unique, isn't it? Is this the first time this has been done in Ireland?
It's certainly the first time it's been done in Ireland. Anytime this tournament has been staged before, there's a qualifying event just prior to the main championship, and generally speaking, the qualifying event is held at a nearby golf club or a neighbouring golf club. But luckily, the RNA have they have witnessed both courses now. We're staging an RNA event in August, the home internationals, and when they saw the quality of the old links, they were astounded, and I suppose that probably helped to seal the deal in terms of staging the entire tournament on one site here in Ballyliffin. It's only been held 3 times in the past on the island of Ireland. That was in Royal Portrush and Portstewart, then Royal County Down and Kilkeel, and in Portmarnock and Royal Dublin.
How do you expect the course to be set up, say, for instance, comparing now for your visiting players, your club players, compared to how it was set up for the Irish Open? Now, I'm not about in terms of difficulty. Of course, the courses are going to look fantastic, but I presume it's set up pretty much close to the same way the pros play the game in terms of length and pin positions and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Greg. These guys wouldn't be far off the level of European Tour. Certainly someone would be, and weather conditions dependent. The course, I would expect, will be set up very similarly to what it was for the Irish Open, and let's hope we get the same weather we got in 2018.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of the scale of the event, the sort of on-site setup that we saw with the Irish Open, do you expect it to be similar to that? I mean, this is going to attract an awful lot of people from all over the place to watch it. But in terms of the infrastructure, and again, you're almost uniquely placed in being able to host it the way you can. Do you expect it to be on the same sort of a scale, the same kind of, razzle-dazzle, glitz and glamour?
No, it won't be quite on the same scale at all.
Well, I'll move on to Martin then. No, I'm only joking.
It really depends on the level of home interest and the number of Irish players that are doing well in it. But, we're not expecting crowds anywhere near what we got for the Irish Open. We had over 100,000 people here for the Irish Open over the 4 days. It is amateur golf, but nevertheless, there'll be over 400 competitors coming to town for between the qualifying and the actual championship. They bring an entourage with them. The international media will cover it. The RNA will broadcast it, and hopefully Sky will be covering it at that stage. It's broadcast around the world on highlights package on Sky Sports. So, it is great international profile for the region and obviously for Ballyliffin and its 2 courses.
Yeah, Councillor Martin McDermott, I mean, obviously from a golfing perspective, this is great news, but from a Inishowen Donegal perspective, great news too.
Yeah, it's excellent news from an Inishowen perspective, Greg, and a lot of credit has to go to John and to Ballyliffin Golf Club, for the foresight in the first place to bring the Irish Open here, and now to bring another major golfing tournament and a show that highlights the peninsula and highlights the county, not just in Ireland but all over the world. And we are now seeing the evidence of the Irish Open, people coming here, people coming to Ballyliffin, extra bed nights. That's all and the back of a brilliant Irish Open, and the same thing can happen here. And now we're up there among the elite areas for golfing and for tourism, and I think that we can certainly build on that from a local perspective and an Inishowen, and from the county perspective, also from Donegal County Council's perspective, to do everything that they can to help and make sure that this tournament is as much of a success.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, obviously the Legends Tour is going to Downings, or it's been held in Downings, and there's events around that. Food stalls, music, and what have you that the council is supporting. Again, I don't know kind of what the crowd is like in terms of if they're up for that kind of stuff in the amateur game. But do you see an opportunity maybe for similar initiatives around this event?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no question. There's going to have to be, works done between now and 2024 to facilitate another major tournament coming to the show. We met with the council, with the chief executive, and with Gary Martin, myself, and John, to have a discussion on this and to start and look at what the council can do from a local authority perspective to help. To make these tournaments and make this tournament in particular, as I said, as successful as the Irish Open. And I think we have to, as a local authority, tourism here in this county, and in particular here in Inishowen, is vitally important. It's one of the most important things that we survive on. I think that these types of tournaments sell our county and sell sell the county all over the world. And Donegal is now becoming a place that people want to come to. We discussed this earlier, Greg, in one of your other shows about the cost of hotels and things down the country. And to be fair, here in Donegal, we're not on that level.
Listen, don't get me started on that, because I've been checking out some hotel prices around the rally. So we'll leave that. Can we leave that one there?
Yeah, you can, surely. We'll not fight over that.
But no, I take your broader point. John, what's the view amongst members here? Is it a bit bittersweet, or are they delighted, universally delighted? Like, they're going to be playing off mats for the next 2 years?
No, I don't think so, Greg. I'd say, generally they'll be very, very proud that such an event is coming to Ballyliffin. There will be a bit of discomfort, I suppose, closer to the event. But I think people, particularly our members, they see the bigger picture, they see what we're trying to do, they see the greater good for the community in attracting events such as this to the area, and the potential for economic spin-off for everyone, not just for Ballyliffin Golf Club, but for the entire community, in staging world-class golf tournaments such as this, and putting ourselves on the world stage, bringing more tourists into the area, and helping sustain the economics of Inishowen and Donegal, indeed.
Yeah, and not unlike the Irish Open, golfers, hardcore golfers, that play all the time, they want to play on courses that hold events like this, and playing areas that host events like this, because there is a genuine ripple effect there, John, isn't there? It is, of course, that the epicentre is Ballyliffin Golf Club, but we saw with the previous competition, it ripples out. People play some of our other brilliant courses around the county, and they stay in other areas outside Ballyliffin. Obviously, immediately it fills up in the centre, but then it spreads out, and that's how we get a broader benefit.
Absolutely. No one comes to Donegal to play one golf course generally. Certainly any international visitor isn't coming to Donegal to play one golf course. So, there is a ripple effect, as you say, and, that economic benefit spreads far and wide throughout the county, and not just in golf and golf courses, but restaurants, pubs, hotels, other attractions. They all reap the benefit of, the golf tourist that comes, spends a week, 10 days in the area. That spend is considerable in terms of the economic impact in the area.
Yeah, Martin, again, this is then where the council has to step up, and will step up, I'm sure, to capitalise and encourage all of that. Absolutely.
It's where we have to come on from a Donegal tourism perspective, from an Exploring the Show perspective, and use this tournament and use what's going to happen, and use the national media that will cover this all over the world to promote the county, and again, these types of events give that opportunity to them organisations to do that.
Yeah, all right, stay where you are, Martin. I want to come back to you after the break if that's okay. John, you watch, I presume you watch a bit of golf when you have time, do you?
Oh, certainly, particularly when our own guys are involved, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of Live Golf and that whole sort of semi-breakaway? We'll not get into the politics of it more. Maybe we'll just stick with the golfing element. I presume you've been chatting about that in the clubhouse and outside of it. What do you think of it? I watched quite a bit of it. I don't know what to make. I think the Canadian Open was laid out better and was more competitive as a result of it, some might argue. But anyway, what do you think of this Live Golf, UAE-backed Live Golf initiative?
Listen, Greg, it's not hard to understand why players towards the end of their career are seizing the opportunity to take that type of money, playing in restricted fields against the same guys week in, week out, and playing less golf. It makes their life so much easier. But I do feel that they've turned their back on where they've been making a living, and making a damn good living. Most people would say for 40, 50 years. The PGA Tour and the European Tour have been good to most of the individuals, all the individuals that have decided to sign up with Live Golf. I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't see the business model. I can't see how they're going to make a return on investment. Maybe they don't need a return on investment. There's not much money in the well there, but certainly it's a concerning time for the world of professional golf, particularly for the tours, because you look at, the PGA Tour week in, week out is very, very commercially successful. The European Tour, not so much. Certain weeks are more glossy than others. This adds pressure to that tour. maybe takes away from the field in some instances. Some weeks, some of these players would have been playing the European Tour. That takes away from the marketability of each event and the commercial success of each event. And you'd wonder, is it going to drag down the other tours? But I don't know how sustainable the model is.
I think if the golfers don't allow their eye to be turned, the product, I don't think the live product is that interesting, personally. And as you say, no disrespect to the players involved, but I think their average world ranking is up around 147 or something. And you just want to see the best of the best. All right, I was just interested in your views. John, thank you for that. Best of luck for 2024. I'm sure I'll be speaking to you between now and then. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, Martin, you'll stay with us, will you? I just want to have a quick word with you on the Cabinet meeting today to sign off on that new MICA legislation. I'll just take a very quick break and then we'll be back to talk about that.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP room, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor now offers a wide range of skin boosters. The injectable moisturiser for under eyes that improves dark circles, fine lines and wrinkles. Also treating the face, neck, chest and hands. This amazing treatment works from the inside out, resulting in brighter, smoother, plumper skin. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. You can download the Genesis app or call 07495 32575.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Would you like to further your education without the need to attend on campus? Atlantic Technological University Sligo are now making education accessible through the Higher Education for All initiative. Study a full-time degree and attend live online classes in an inclusive learning environment. If you need to stay at home due to caring commitments, a disability or financial circumstances, then Higher Education for All at ATU Sligo can help you take the next step. Visit atu.ie/higher education for all.
Over time, it's natural for your hearing not to be as clear as it once was. The good news is, advances in hearing aid technology may offer different solutions. Sabrina Robb here from Donegal Hearing Clinic. We provide peace of mind with hearing issues that affect people of all ages. Contact us for a consultation at Donegal Hearing Clinic on 07491 88470 or visit donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Okay, I was inundated by one single text that said I suggested Councillor Martin McDermott, if he was presenting this show, it would be boring. What I was actually saying is if I were the guest, it would be boring. So apologies to that listener there. Right, on to much more serious business, and that is the Cabinet meeting today to sign off on this new legislation. Martin, whatever happens, if they do not go through the pre-legislative process, this is unacceptable. It can't be accepted because why would they, under any circumstances, try and avoid this being scrutinised? We've waited long enough. We can wait a couple of months if need be.
Yeah, I think that that meeting is starting around now, 10 o'clock this morning. We don't really know at this stage. None of us know. It's been very tight-lipped for the last 3 or 4 weeks as to how this is going to pan out and exactly what's going to be in the scheme from what has been put forward to enhance the scheme since February. We won't know probably till later on today as to what comes out of that. It's meant to be published next Tuesday to the public, but I would think that it probably will happen before that. It's vitally important, Greg, it's vitally important that this is got right this time. We can't have a situation that we had in the previous scheme, where when it's up and running, that we find the flaws and the problems.
But what can we do about that? What can we do about that? Because it seems inevitable that's the way it's going to be. The Housing Minister seems to want to avoid foundations being included, yet we had Charlie McConnell-Ogue on the programme saying they will be included. For further confusion there. If the focus is only on MICA, we're going to be looking at situations whereby we're going for remedial work that engineers won't sign off on, and then it all stalls there. You know, this has to be expanded. It has to look at other materials. If all of that is not done now, then it's another not fit for purpose scheme. And I'll be honest with you, this feels exactly like the weeks leading up to the alleged 90-10 scheme all over again.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt there has to be a parallel between the IS 465, the deleterious materials, and the new scheme. There is no question on that. The new scheme, whatever that scheme may be, is only going to be as good as the IS 465 and the update to that, because that has to be updated. I mean, it's clear now at this stage, and it's clear from the senior engineers within Donegal County Council who have made a stand on applications against the wishes of the department, that they need clarification on that, and that has to be a parallel to the new scheme that's going to be announced. But again, there are two separate issues as well. But the new scheme is one issue, and the IS 465, which is updated through the National Standards Authority, is a separate issue that is being looked at the minute.
So you believe that we can get a scheme signed off on today with a view to expanding the IS 465? That, in other words, if there is a firm commitment in that regard, these two things can move in tandem.
Yes, there has to be a firm commitment on that. And, you know, even the scheme is signed off today, there's going to be a period now where it has to go through both the Senate and the Housing Committee, and then back to the Dáil, which will allow for amendments to the scheme.
What is the makeup of the Housing Committee, out of interest? Because it is they also that have to agree to waive pre-legislative scrutiny. Is that that's a political grouping? Do we know what the makeup of that grouping is?
I think there's 12 between TDs and senators on that. I think there is something like 4 from Fianna Fáil and 3 from Fine Gael, 3 from Sinn Féin, and a few independents on that as well. And
so the government parties have the majority on the Housing Committee as well?
Yes.
Okay, right, okay. Well, sure, listen, I know... go ahead, sorry.
No, I just said that you know, we are hopefully, and I mean, people have been through hell and back over the last year.
I don't think they've come back from hell yet.
And no, and I know that, and every day of the week we're dealing with this, Greg, and as I say, it has to be got right.
Okay.
And
listen, that was a bit unfair, me pulling you up on that turn of phrase. It was just a turn of phrase. I know you know exactly more than a lot of people exactly what families are going through. And I know also that we're hamstrung in that we don't have much information, but I wanted to recognise that this decision was being made today. Councillor Martin McDermott, thank you very much for your time today. All right, take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show, including Garth Brooks. He'll be joining us a little later on. What is your favourite Garth Brooks song? We'll play a song out of that interview. What is your favourite Garth Brooks song? Let us know what it is. We've an online poll going at somewhere as well, which will collaborate all of that, and we'll pick your favourite song. So we'll be chatting to him between 10 and 11. Also, we've got the community guard information item, that and so much more besides. We really want you to stay with us for the news and obituary notices coming up right now.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
The door for claiming High Court redress on homes built with defective blocks is closing. If you've been affected, you must act now to get justice. Don't, and your claim, like your house, could crumble. To discuss your options with our legal team at the Gateway Hotel Bungrana on the 15th or 16th of June, email defectiveblocks@colemanlegal.ie or call 01 531 3800. Participation is free of charge. Defective Blocks Ireland, building the case for rebuilding your home.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. 10 million euros worth of stock in store and ready to take home. All tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything slashed in price. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Ireland's biggest range, best prices, and in store to take home today. Sale extended until Sunday.
There was a monster who lived in the trees, in the house that would rattle and shake in the breeze. It was cold and small, with a terrible leak that would drip on her head and her hands and her beak. She needed it fixed and all in one batch because she had an egg that was ready to hatch. So she went to the credit union for a renovation loan and got new windows, insulation, and extended her home. Monster loans from the credit union. Imagine more. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. If you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Credit unions in the Republic of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
In 2018, Toyota cut through the confusion, completely ceasing production of diesel passenger cars, lowering harmful emissions and providing certainty for Irish drivers everywhere. And Kelly's Toyota are proud to be part of that hybrid electric journey. Visit Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles today to see what makes Toyota Ireland's best-selling car brand in 2021 and 2022. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world. Best-selling claim based on most recent monthly figures.
Due to continued expansion, McHugh's Tyres, Railway Street, Strabane are seeking to recruit experienced tyre fitters and vehicle technicians. Excellent package rates are available. For further details, contact McHugh's Tyres on 048 7138 2238. Stick to the road with McHugh's Tyres.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The price of petrol and diesel here has again hit record levels. According to AA Roadwatch, Ireland's average cost of a litre of petrol is now €2.13. The litre of diesel average is €2.05. Prices at some Donegal forecourts are considerably higher, with some pumps hitting €2.20. Fuel prices have risen 11% on average in the past fortnight. Paddy Common from AA Roadwatch says the way things are looking, they're only going in one direction.
It now costs the average motorist of a petrol car €750 more than last year to fill their car for a year, with the average diesel driver now spending €640 more per year than last year. Certainly for now it looks like they're going up significantly, judging by such an increase over the last 2 weeks. So if they increase at this rate, then it looks like it's only a matter of time before they reach €2.50 per litre.
The EU is expected to resume legal proceedings over what it sees as previous UK breaches of the Brexit deal. The European Commission's also warning it'll take proportionate action over yesterday's decision to proceed with a unilateral initiative to unpick parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. 52 of Stormont's 90 MLAs have written to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying they reject his government's new reckless protocol legislation. But DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson says the letter is pointless.
This institution in the Assembly can only be restored on the basis of a cross-community consensus. Majority rule will not cut it. That's what unionists were told over all the years. So to the Alliance, the SDLP and Sinn Féin, who have written this letter, without the support of unionists, the political institutions can't operate.
Crumbling homes in counties Clare and Limerick now look set to be included in the defective blocks redress scheme. Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien will ask Cabinet today to extend the scheme to the two new counties in addition to those affected by the crisis in Donegal and Mayo. It means a further 2,000 homes will come under the scheme, with the cost rising to around €2.7 billion. It's then anticipated that a week from today the revised scheme will be presented to the Dáil. The government's expected to push for anti-inflation measures instead of a substantial pay increase for public sector workers. Pay talks are underway at the Workplace Relations Commission this week, where it's expected unions will call for an increase to match current inflation. However, a source told the Irish Times a small pay increase and measures to reduce services like childcare and health is the likely alternative to be offered by government. Public sector workers received a 1% increase last year, with a further 1% rise expected in October. Letterkenny Milford Municipal District will be told today there is a need for immediate repairs to the Glencar roundabout at the top of Circular Road. Councillor Donald Kelly says the roundabout is currently non-existent and it's causing major safety concerns in the area. He says immediate works are necessary, particularly with Rally Weekend coming up and also a busy summer season ahead.
Locals are aware of this junction and how the layout of the junction works, even though the roundabout's not visible. But we're coming on now to a very, very busy weekend ahead with the Donegal International Rally coming up. We'll have visitors, people using this junction that I suppose is not as familiar with the layout of the junction. We're also coming into a very busy time of year. It's the summer season where tourists will be in the town, and I think it's only right that our roads are kept up to standard and that a roundabout is left visible at this junction.
There were 28,096 disclosures of abuse against women and 5,735 disclosures of child abuse reported to Women's Aid last year. The figures are included in their 2021 Women's Aid Annual Impact Report. Volunteers also dealt with more calls in 2021 relating to surveillance and monitoring, humiliation and assaults with weapons. Women's Aid's Chief Executive Sarah Benson says Ireland's unequal gender society is compounding the problem.
We live in a gender unequal society, and that unequal society is both a cause and a consequence of male violence against women, all forms of violence against women. What we know is that initiatives and interventions and collaboration for a more equal society help reduce male violence against women.
Weather forecast rather cloudy today with light rain and drizzle at times. Some brighter sunny spells and highest temperatures of 15 to 17 degrees Celsius. Mostly moderate south to southwest breeze. Mostly cloudy tonight with early light rain or drizzle clearing in temperatures of 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Good morning. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, the 14th of June. The death has taken place of Francie McElhinney, Bunaninver Gwyddor, originally from Cashel Nagor, Gorthahork. His remains will repose at his home from 4 o'clock this afternoon, with Rosary Nightly at 8 o'clock. House private pleas from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass in St Columkille's Church, Knockfalla, on Thursday morning at 11, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Sam Buchanan, Roscarrow, Milford. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral service tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock in Milford Presbyterian Church, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral service can be viewed on Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family time please from 11 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only please, donations if desired, to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Greta Sweeney, née Rowan, 26 Patrick Street, Strabane, formerly of Port Hall, Lifford. Her remains will repose at Quigley's Funeral Home from 5 o'clock this evening, with removal at 6 o'clock to Sacred Heart Church, Derry Road. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 10, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Patrick Marley, Sesha O'Neill, Ballybofey. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 20 to 11 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The funeral mass will be streamed live via the parish Facebook page. The death has taken place of May Craig, the Common, Rafo. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 for 2 o'clock funeral service in Rafo Presbyterian Church, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired, to Rafo Presbyterian Church, Repair Fund, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. Family time please from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has occurred of Myra Reid, née Cannon, late of Illistrin, Letterkenny. Funeral Mass this morning in St Eunan's Cathedral at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in Conwall Cemetery. Family Flowers Only Please, donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, funeral director, or any family member. The death has taken place of Daniel McGonigal, Caromina Leukemia. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Ballinacray, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. The death has taken place of Margaret McGee, Broadpath Convoy. Her remains are reposing at her residence. Funeral from there this morning at 10:30 to St Mary's Church Convoy for 11 o'clock Mass with burial afterwards in the Old Cemetery. The death has occurred of Kathleen Gallagher, née Heron, Cavan Duncanely. Funeral from her late residence this morning at 11:30, going to St Joseph and St Connell's Church, Bruckles, for 12 noon Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family Flowers Only Please. Funeral Mass can be viewed online via the parish Facebook page. And the death has occurred of James McMenamin, Ballybun, Castlefin. James's remains are reposing at his late home. Funeral from there this morning at 11:15 for Requiem Mass at 12 noon in St Mary's Church, Castlefin, with interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Castlefin. Family Flowers Only Please, donations in lieu if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Charles Lynch, funeral director, or any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Can I get 2 specials, please? 1 sourdough and Caesar salad. And by the way, I'm 12 weeks pregnant.
Yes, Chef. We don't always know who's at risk from COVID-19 and other viruses, but we do know how to protect them. Keep hands clean and wear a mask. Let fresh air in, get vaccinated, and stay at home if you are unwell. From the HSC. For us all.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. You're very welcome along to the show if you're just tuning in. Don't forget, coming up later on, we have Garth Brooks on the programme talking ahead of his concerts in Dublin in September and the announcement of 20,000 extra tickets, which will be available from Thursday. But some of your comments here before we take the bingo numbers and go to the Community Guard information item. A caller says, has anyone noticed, has Eamon Ryan been silenced? He's quoted everywhere. I'm not sure about that. Another caller says the silence today from the Fine Gael councillors in Donegal about pre-legislative scrutiny on the MICA bill is deafening. Now, in fairness, we haven't contacted any of them. If you talked about on this radio show, we're kind of waiting to see what's agreed today before we kick into our reaction. Another texter says, still pro-EU when it lines their pockets, just does much less of it and they can't be bothered with the extra paperwork. That's as it relates to the Northern Ireland Protocol. Greg, what's wrong? Is Ireland not taking enough petrol and diesel? That's what's pushing up the price. My uncle has a garage. He knows what's going on. By this weekend, petrol will be $2.23 a litre. It's not far off it in some places. Are the Northern Ireland people going to start smuggling across the border? Those companies will have to pay taxes. I can't believe he thinks they can't do away with the single market. Gregory Campbell shifts the goalpost while accusing nationalists of wanting their bread buttered on both sides. Look at all the previous bills the DUP have blocked pre-Brexit on gender equality, agriculture policy, pro-EU when it lines their pockets, and women's healthcare, to name but 3. Thanks, Des. Is the DUP saying the executive works by not sitting? It's an interesting interpretation. And finally, on parental alienation for now, it occurs, and it also occurs when there's no domestic violence there. Many domestic violence allegations are proven unfounded but serve to break the relationship up between the child and their alienated mother or father. This is a constant one-way strategy used in parental alienation. First question asked must be, why is the child not seeing their dad or mum? Which must be investigated immediately, taking into account that the child may be coerced or manipulated to say what the alienating parents want them to say. But my take on that is, look, it's about the children and protecting the children and making sure the children are safe and working on a system to do that. But it's one of those issues where people are very entrenched on their opinions as to who's more responsible, or the ideology behind it, really. And I'm from the outside looking on, and my focus would be purely on what's best for the child and finding a solution, and maybe the other stuff could be resolved along the way. All right, Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh will be joining us for the Community Garda information item after the bingo numbers and a quick break. Good luck if you are playing today. We'll be right back.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 14th of June. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S17. It's game number 24. The numbers are 41, 31, 24, 76, 27, 53, 66, 39, 63, and finally 18. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Look, you've heard by now that there's something major happening in the banking industry, which will mean thousands of businesses up and down the country will have to move banks. This means that as well as change in banks, suppliers and customers will need to be notified. It's certainly not something you want to leave until the last minute. So, for a step-by-step guide on moving your business banking, search Bank of Ireland Big Move. Begin.
Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Due to continued expansion, Watson Hire and Letterkenny have a vacancy for a mechanic and plant fitter. Work will include maintenance and repair of plant hire, tools and equipment. Experience with diesel, petrol and electrical machinery will be important. A full driver's licence and basic computer knowledge is essential. This position is full-time and offers a competitive salary. To apply, send your CV to jobs@watsonhire.ie.
Find the perfect gift for Dad with trending summer style at Dunnes Stores. Treat him to a classic shirt for just €10, or spoil him with new knitwear from just €20. Pick out a polo and shorts combo he'll love, or a sophisticated shirt in 100% linen from our exclusive designer Paul Costello. Whether he needs a wardrobe update or something new for his next night out, you'll find a gift for Dad at Dunnes Stores. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
When it comes to searching for a holiday, Atlantic Travel and Letterkenny deal with all the major tour operators from Dublin and Belfast to find you the best deals available. A week in the sun, a cruise, or maybe a short break. Whatever suits, you can book in confidence with Atlantic, knowing your holiday is protected should something go wrong. Take the hassle and worry out of your holiday booking with the award-winning Atlantic Travel, St Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny. For a quote today, see Facebook, visit atlantictravel.ie or call 9126193.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91260025.
Okay, we're joined in studio today by Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh, of course attached to the Letterkenny Garda Station. Good morning to you, Ewan. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Greg. How's things?
I'm good. One of the busiest weeks, and we'll talk about it in more detail later on in the item, because, of course, we're going to dedicate some time to the Donegal International Rally, but it's a busy time for the Gardaí.
It is, yeah. It's a busy week coming up, a lot of planning and that, so it's the first official rally since 2019, so 3 years later they're back on the road again, and we're happy to be involved. So,
all right, well, stay tuned for more information on that as part of this item. We're going to start with appeals, though, and we'll start with any information people may have as it relates to a RTC in Buncrana Union.
Yes, Greg, this is a road traffic collision which occurred on the St Mary's Road area of Buncrana on Saturday night, Sunday morning, past there, the 12th of June, shortly before 1:20 a.m. The vehicle involved was a red Honda motorcycle, and we believed it was travelling along St Mary's Road in the direction of Cockhill Road at the time of collision. Unfortunately, the driver of the motorcycle was taken to ambulance to hospital, where he remains to receive medical treatment. So we're appealing for anybody who travelled in the area at the time or who may have dash cam to make the footage available to Gardaí. So that's the road traffic collision Saturday night, Sunday morning, the 12th of June at 1:20 a.m. So if you have information, contact the Gardaí Buncrana 07493 20540, or again the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Our next appeal is somewhat unique in that the Gardaí themselves were at least audio witnesses to this. What happened?
Yes, Gardaí actually in the station in Ballybofey were alerted by a loud bang on the street on Thursday night, Friday morning past the 10th of June at approximately 1:15 a.m. And again, it would appear to be a road traffic collision where council property and road sign on the main street had been struck and badly damaged as a result. Unfortunately, the vehicle involved did not remain at the scene of the collision, and we're anxious to trace the driver and or the owner. So we're appealing to anybody who may witness the collision to contact the Gardaí at Letterkenny 07491 67100. Again, anybody who travelled on the main street Ballybofey between 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. on Friday morning, the 10th of June, who may have dashcam to make the footage available to Gardaí, please.
All right, Milford Gardaí investigating criminal damage.
Yes, this unfortunately was criminal damage caused by a number of young people on the Tank Road area of Ramelton last Saturday, the 11th of June at 3:30 p.m. A group of youths entered a vacant house in the area and caused substantial damage to it. When Gardaí arrived, the young people had gone, but substantial damage caused to the front door, glass panels and other damage. So last Saturday evening, 3:30 p.m, there may have been a lot of people about Ramelton that may have seen a group of young people or any residents who have information to contact the Gardaí at Milford 07491 53060.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter whether the house is vacant or not. This is unacceptable behaviour. I presume you're calling on anyone with influence over these young people to have a conversation with them,
yes,
to desist from this activity.
It's possible that somebody listened, maybe had a child who was in the premises and has told their parents that they were there and maybe not involved in the damage, but with other people. And again, if they come forward, we will treat them with empathy, and we'll encourage them to do so.
Yeah, okay. We're trying to avoid a recurrence as well, of course. More criminal damage investigating, this time in the Ballybofey area.
Yes, last Thursday, Greg, the 9th of June, approximately 9:30 p.m, a resident of a private house or home was alerted to a loud bang to the front door of the house. The front door had been locked and closed at the time and had discovered to be open and cracked. So maybe an attempt to gain entry and maybe some attempt to steal property or whatever. CCTV footage was obtained and two males were observed walking away from the house in the direction of Glenfin Road, Ballybofey. One of the males had black hair and a beard and was wearing a two-tone hoodie. The top part of the hoodie black and the bottom part grey, so maybe very distinctive there. Mm-hmm. Black tracksuit bottoms with white stripes down the leg. The second male wore grey work type trousers with the extra pockets, for implements or tools, whatever. A grey hoodie with a white t-shirt and white runners. So fairly good description of the two males involved, and we're asking any people who may have seen these males in the area of Back Lane, Ballybofey, or the main street, or on Glenfin Road to contact Gardaí Letterkenny 07491 67100, or again the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Now we're staying in the Ballybofey area for another criminal damage appeal.
Yes, there's damage again to a house in the Curraghmone area of Ballybofey last Wednesday night, Thursday morning, the 9th of June, between 2 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. Again, a window in the porch of a house was smashed between those times, and we're appealing for anybody who may have seen or heard anything in the Curraghmone area of Ballybofey to contact the Gardaí Letterkenny.
All right.
07491 67100.
Okay, sorry for talking over you there, Ewan. Now, I mean, obviously, these appeals do work. That's why we do it, don't we? It's to try and solve some of these crimes, Ewan.
Yes, people do ask me, you're looking for help, and do you ever get anything from it? Just by way of information. We made an appeal last week in relation to assault that occurred in the High Road area of Letterkenny on the June the 5th. And the appeal was made on your show, Greg, and we received valuable information from members of the public, and as a result we've made significant progress in the investigation. One male has been arrested and questioned, and a file will be sent to the DPP for directions. And again, to thank the people who came forward, and again, we appreciate all the support that we get from the community in relation to our appeals.
Yeah, exactly, and I presume too as well, sometimes it's the little pieces of information that people bring up. They form part of the pieces of the puzzle.
Yes, you could say, as you say, maybe like a jigsaw puzzle. Somebody may have something that they thinks is very little, minor or insignificant, but it could be the final piece of the jigsaw to solve any crime, Greg.
All right, brilliant stuff. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the item, Ewan, it's a big week for rally fans. It's a big a couple of days for rally fans. It's a big couple of days, of course, for Donegal as a whole. Big policing operation as well. So talk to us about the 50th annual Donegal International Rally.
Yeah, this year, Greg, is the 50th anniversary. Starting on, the ceremonial launch on Thursday evening, the 16th of June at the Market Square, but the actual rally starts on Friday the 17th and finish up on Sunday evening the 19th. We have a significant policing operation in place for the event, and as I spoke to you earlier, we have a quite significant number of Gardaí travelling from around the country to help us police the matter. We have public order units, we have extra motorbike patrols, mobile patrols, people on foot for the whole weekend. So we're setting up numerous high visibility checkpoints throughout the county and conduct high visibility patrols and speed checks. Just to make people aware that bad driver behaviour and antisocial behaviour will not be tolerated. We're looking for a good promotion of the event this year. We've had numerous meetings with stakeholders, the Rally Donegal Motor Club, the rally crowd. We've met with the Chamber of Commerce, we've met with councillors, we've actually met with people who organise the official different events in the town for the weekend. So a robust policing plan is in place, and road safety remains our priority as lives continue to be lost on our roads, and we hear every day about the increased number of road deaths on our roads, and thousands of people are expected to travel to Donegal this weekend, and we're urging road users to be vigilant on the road, drive safely and respect other road users, obey the speed limit at all times, and of course do not drive while under the influence of alcohol and drugs, wear your seatbelt and do not hold your mobile phone whilst driving. There will be major diversions throughout the weekend, some planned and some maybe unplanned depending on how traffic is going. So we're asking people to obey any diversions which may be in place. And again, if you're coming to Letterkenny or if you're travelling through Letterkenny to go to the airport or on holidays, wherever, please plan your journey and give yourself
There's going to be a lot of people in the town over that weekend, and with the best will in the world, 300,000 Gardaí. The town is what the town is. The roads are what the road are. You can do your best to keep things moving as much as possible, but given the amount of people expected to descend on it, only so much can be done.
Yes, Greg, and I hope I'm not criticised for saying this. If we struggle with our road infrastructure on Friday evenings or bank holiday weekends, particularly northern bank holiday weekends, then we could struggle this weekend as well. So as you say, with only the one road out of town and the one road in, there will be significant traffic on the road. And as a result, with the meeting with the contractor on the roadwork at the Polestar at the minute and the council, a decision was made to close the entrance to the Cullion Road on the outbound lane from Thursday night till Monday afternoon. Now, I saw it up on a social media post and numerous comments. And the reason for this is that if you're turning onto the Cullion Road from the outbound lane, with the amount of traffic coming in, you could be waiting a while to turn right. And if there's a backlog of traffic on the right Cullion Road, it could lead to a significant delay in outbound traffic from the town. So to make people, because of that, there will be 2 lanes out of town on a 24-hour basis. And there will be signs on the outbound from the Polestar to make people aware that the 2 lanes are open for traffic. So we're asking people to use the 2 lanes.
Now, before you talk about how we can engage with the Gardaí as it relates to driver behaviour, like when we were doing this item ahead of the June bank holiday, we were talking about road safety, and we were talking about at this time of year, when at that time of year, what we do see is an increase in traffic, and we see an increase in crashes and fatal crashes, and it happened like that, unfortunately. So we don't sit here and just say this stuff and it means nothing. Statistics show that over that June bank holiday weekend, there is an increase, very sadly, in people losing their lives. And that, unfortunately, despite all of the appeals, that's how things turned out again. Again, coming into this weekend, with more cars on the road, with people speeding, maybe with the other effect, we could, again, see tragedy on our roads. That is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to get a situation, aren't we, where people can enjoy a fantastic motoring event, but everyone gets home safe.
Yeah, that's the priority.
And that's as simple as that,
Greg,
isn't it?
As you say, that's the priority. And with the extra visibility, you know, the yellow jackets on the road, the extra motorbikes, people will see us, and I hope that they will do the right thing.
Right.
Now,
So-
there will be a lot of noise over the weekend. There are organised different events. There will be noise. There will be a lot of people. There will be a lot of traffic. But the priority for us is road safety.
Now, if anyone out there spots some incidents that might be happening, are you encouraging them to contact Garda? You know, if they witness dangerous driving behaviour.
Yes, you contact the emergency number at 999 or 112, of course. Letterkenny, I'll give you the numbers again, the 24-hour stations, Greg. Letterkenny 07491 67100. Uncrana 07493 20540. Milford 07491 53060. And Ballyshannon 07198 58530. We also have the Sea Sessions Festival in Ballyshannon, so there will be a significant amount of people on our roads this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. Right, okay. Thank you very much for that, Ewan.
Greg, thank you. Can I hold on for the Garth Brooks?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Garth Brooks is coming on the show very shortly. You're a huge fan. Your colleagues rang up to say.
I'll run out to the car and get my cowboy boots and the checked shirt. So,
are you being facetious there? Are you not actually a Garth Brooks fan or Garth Brooks fan?
No, I don't mind Garth Brooks. I'm more of Bruce Springsteen.
Why are you leaving the country when he's in Ireland?
I'm on my holiday break, unfortunately.
Right. Okay, listen, thank you so very much for that.
Greg,
that is Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh there, who is actually on Garda Síochána's biggest Garth Brooks fan, I'm told. We'll be back with the Community Garda slot after the 10 o'clock news next Tuesday, and we'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after this break. Stay right where you are. Mr. Brooks is on the way before 11.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
For me, it started with the specially selected Parma ham from Aldi. So silky, so melt in the mouth. You'll speak Italian after it. What about the specially selected sourdough cob? Irish, so you'll still sound Irish after eating that. And don't even get me started on the lime, basil and mandarin hand and body lotion. Shame you can't smell it over the radio. All this choice starts with Aldi. Every day amazing.
Donegal County Council, in association with Bryson Recycling, are holding a half-price bulky goods event at Letterkenny, Lahey and Dunlow Recycling Centres from the 7th of June to the 18th of June, during site opening times. For more information and opening times, visit donegalcoco.ie or call the council on 074 9153 900.
The final O'Neill Sportswear Massive Warehouse Clearance starts at 9 a.m. on Friday 17th of June and ends Sunday 19th of June. For the final time, County GAA jerseys, leisure wear, including t-shirts, tracksuit bottoms, half-zips, hoodies and jackets, all reduced to clear. The sale will take place at O'Neill Sportswear Warehouse of the Melmount Road, Strabane.
For Pat, 10 years had been too long a wait to see his team reach the final. So if ever a match called for bunting, it was now.
We've got to show our support. Full team colours on every pole will do the trick. Just hold the ladder. I'll get this bunting up in no time.
Always ask yourself the question,
are you sure it's safe?
Never attach anything to electricity poles. Stay safe. Stay clear of electricity wires.
For emergencies, call 1-800-372-999.
ESB Networks, serving all electricity customers.
Are you ready for a role or a career with one of Ireland's leading food companies? Due to a further developed business base in Donegal, Glanbia are looking for a door-to-door milk agent to service the Ballybuffet, Stranorlar, Killygordon, Castlefin, Drumkeen and Glenfin areas. To apply for this exciting role, forward your CV to pburns@glanbia.ie. That's PBYRNES @glanbia.ie or call 087 2533 054.
All right, you're very welcome back to the programme. Ireland by Garth Brooks, best ever song in my opinion, says a caller, or is that Katie? who was singing it earlier on, so I suspect she's stuck her own comment in as a listener's comment. Morning, Greg. Friends in Low Places is my favourite. Another caller says, Much Too Young, great song. Another huge Garth Brooks fan. My boyfriend bought me a 6 CD box set in the 90s. I cherish it every day. It's like gold dust to me, Greg. Oh, Greg, it has to be if tomorrow ever comes, says another. And a caller says, The Thunder Rolls. Garth Brooks songs, though. From our listeners on social media, we polled them. Stand Outside the Fires, my favourite Garth Brooks song, roll on September 11th. Friends in Low Places, very fitting for our Micah families right now. And The Dance is this caller's most loved. Let's listen to some of The Dance. Actually, you know what? I don't know whether to play the interview first because we'll have to mute the music on social media. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll play the interview first. It's not live. We recorded it yesterday because he was doing his rounds speaking to people yesterday. So what we'll do, we'll play the interview out because I don't want to have to mute on social media for people watching or listening and then play the interview. It wouldn't make sense. So we'll play Garth and then we'll come back with The Dance. And joining us on the programme now is Garth Brooks. Garth, it's good to speak to you again. I'm not sure you remember, but you were back on. You were on with us at the time of your previously scheduled concerts. I'm just wondering, is this a sense now coming up in September, a bit of unfinished business for you? Does it feel important like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like having the greatest meal of your life and knowing that dessert is going to be the best part of it. So it's fun. The stadium tour is clicking at a pace we couldn't even imagine. We're averaging, somewhere over 90,000 people a city. So the stadium tour is going unbelievable, but knowing that Ireland is waiting at the end of it is this is crazy. It's like, I don't know how this can get any better.
Great news for fans too, because this is being filmed and the director has sorted out his camera position. So there's more tickets going to be available for fans on Thursday. The more the merrier for you. The more you can pack in, the better, I would say.
Oh yeah, and what I love, Greg, too, is the people that didn't get tickets. They waited in line the same amount of time as the people who did get tickets, if not longer. So it's cool that now the tickets that come available for those people who couldn't get them are going to be some of the best seats in the house. I think that's kind of justice. It's kind of fun, and so happy that the people that waited now get a shot at what could end up being the best seats of the night. So we're fired up.
In terms of how you talked about how successful these latest series of concerts has been for you, do you think there was a bit of pent-up demand too from fans, not only your fans that hadn't seen you for a while, but also the fact that, people weren't able to do things that they'd like to do for a long time? Was it like the perfect storm to make these such a success?
Yeah, I think you hit right on it. I know for us, there's you can just see gratefulness in the band and crew's faces. You can see gratefulness in the people that show up at the show just to be out. Because, if you think about where we truly belong, we belong together. That's why there's more than one of us down here. So getting to be able, now that the pandemic is officially into the endemic kind of stage, to be able to get out, hug people, sing along with people you don't know, but sing into music you do know, that's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, you caused a bit of an earthquake, I read, at the Tiger Stadium recently. I suppose, can we expect the same in Dublin? The fans have a role to play in that too. You'll do your bit. You just want the fans to make sure they do their bit.
Yeah, well, trust me, I have no doubt. I'll put the Irish fan up against anybody on the planet, no matter where, because they know their country music inside and out, and they definitely know Garth stuff better than Garth does. So it's fun to get to sit up there and watch, and you kind of wonder who's the entertainer and who's the fan, because I just love coming and listening to you guys sing.
Is there an actual connection there with the Irish fans? Because I understand The Dance is one of your favourite songs, but if you look at, on the streaming platforms, it's high, but, the old reliables are there above that, and The Dance is genuinely one of your most popular songs in Ireland. I wonder, does that talk to a particular relationship you have with the fans, that they maybe get you a little bit more than maybe others do?
You know what? I wish I could explain it, because I mean, you look at me, I stick out like a sore thumb there, right? It's like I'm not from there, and I don't talk like the people do there, so I don't know why they have chosen Garth music to treat the way they do, and it might be just you treat everybody this way, and I wouldn't be surprised because your hearts are so big, but I don't know why we have been the lucky recipient of what we have in Ireland. I just know that I'm coming to enjoy it and hopefully give some love back, man. This is you can hear the smile on my face anytime we talk about Ireland.
But you genuinely have a great reputation of that connection with fans, the little touch that you have. I suspect you get as much back from that as the fans do in having that those intimate moments that fans have with you from time to time.
Yeah, I can't imagine them getting as much out of it as I do. I mean, I'm the guy that comes there, and I'm the guy that has the most fun. I'm the guy that has the most memories. I'm the guy that leaves that stadium smiling the biggest. It is unbelievable to see these people show up. And then the crazy thing, Greg, is you're looking at it and you're going, wait a minute, the music is starting to be older than half the people that are here. But yet they know every syllable of every word. So I can't explain it. I can just tell you, when you talk about the most fun ride of your life, this is it.
Yeah, and me personally too, you're getting new fans all the while. I'm middle-aged, maybe a little bit under middle-aged, never been to a concert in my life, and heading down to see you in September. So you're getting new fans all the while, Garth.
It's so sweet, Greg. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Spoiler alert. About 2 or 3 songs in, you're going to stop watching Garth. You're going to look at the crowd and go, okay, this is what a Garth thing is. It's the crowd. They're so much fun to watch. That's why we're bringing every camera and every smartphone we can find to capture what's about to happen.
All right, 2 more short questions, if you don't mind. They are short. What do you think about the way we consume music now, Garth? Because, you're talking about seeing the eyes of the fans and they seeing you and being in the same place. I mean, music is about being there together. I'm a big fan of radio, of course, and radio was ever popular in Ireland, but in some areas the streaming services are taking over a little bit. I think you might have taken a wee bit of a stance on this on the past. Does it bother? Do you worry about our relationship with musicians and the fans and the whole radio element of that if we change too much too quick?
Well, the great thing about radio, but they won't listen to me over here, so I hope you do over there, know that radio is not in any danger of going away. This is the personal, the human connection. We can sit and ask somebody to play songs for us all day, but there's nothing that happens. But when it's delivered to us, handed to us by human beings, I'm telling you right now, that's the difference between listening to music and hearing music. Huge difference right there. So it's for me, it's always going to be radio. That's always going to be the window between the artist and the people that allow that artist to be an artist.
Right, finally, Garth, have you a message for the 9 till noon show listeners today and Donegal Northwest fans in general?
Yeah, man, anytime I'm asked, do I want to say something? Yes, thank you. Thank you a million times for my life. Thank you for my children's lives. I'm going to be over there with the love of my life again, and it's great because the last time we played over there, she was singing background, and we weren't married to each other. So this is a beautiful, beautiful place that you have. We're very lucky to be on your soil, and we're going to take advantage of every second while we're over there.
Hey, we'll call it another honeymoon. Garth, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. I'll see you, brother.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
New this week in Home Store and More. All summer duvets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price summer duvets are gone, they're gone. Also, all outdoor cushions are still half price. But when all our half-price outdoor cushions are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Happy Father's Day!
This Father's Day, choose Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, Cool Water, Diesel, 1 million, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Choose McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. Great gifts for great dads. Click mcgees.ie.
Northwest Regional College has launched its exciting range of part-time courses starting this September, and enrolments are now open. Whether it's a new skill or a new career direction, there's something on offer for everyone. For course details at our Derry, Londonderry, Limavady or Strabane campuses, visit nwrc.ac.uk/part-time. And remember, enrolments are now open. Refresh your future with a part-time course at Northwest Regional College.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballybofey and Dunlow should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel in Ballybofey from Tuesday 14th to Thursday 16th of June. All donors need to make an appointment, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. New donors are welcome. Visit GiveBlood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Newly engaged and searching for the perfect venue, the 4-star Courage Hotel Gweedore is gaining popularity as Donegal's leading wedding venue thanks to its reputation for excellent food, beautifully upgraded ballroom and idyllic location on the shore of River Clady with the majestic Errigal Mountain providing the perfect backdrop. Start planning your Wild Atlantic wedding with a private viewing on 07495 32900 and discover our newest wedding packages. And Courage Hotel Gweedore, part of the Gallen Hospitality Group.
Okay, so we're being told now we're in endemic stage of COVID-19, though we are seeing a resurgence of cases, it seemed. But anyway, one of the complications of COVID was access to your local GP. Some of them changed their practice, how they deal with patients and what have you. It's hit and miss. People in different areas have different experiences. Some tell me that everything is pretty much back to normal to some extent. No problem getting to see a GP. Others tell me they simply can't get through on the telephone. So as to say, it varies from practice to practice, and this is not a commentary on all GPs' practices. But Breed has her experiences, and we want to give Breed an opportunity to speak publicly on the show. Good morning, Breed. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, your experience with your local GP service is lacking, I think, but by your testimony. Can you give us your experience?
Yeah, I've been it's actually regarding my parents. They've been trying to get a doctor's appointment, or even just actually to talk to a doctor, since Thursday. Nobody rang them back on Thursday. Nobody rang them back on Friday. So he tried again on Monday, and he was told that the nurse would ring him back. So I went then to visit him, and he had told me what had happened. So I decided to take it upon myself, and I called them the surgery myself after a few tries, and eventually got through. And I turned around and told them that he has been trying to get an appointment since Thursday, and it's about time somebody actually contacted him. So they said yes, he was on the waiting list, and that they would get to him very shortly.
So before you go on, I don't want to interrupt your flow. On Monday, you were told that your father was on a waiting list since Thursday. So
not since Monday.
Okay,
right. He was on our list from this morning.
Understood. Carry on. Sorry, Breed.
And then I contacted them, and they told me he will be contacted. Not 5 minutes later, a nurse called him. Mm-hmm. So that was okay. He gave all the details of what was wrong and why they needed to be seen. And then he said, the nurse said that they would pass the information on to the GP, and the GP would contact them. So they were happy with that, thought that this is great, we're going to get talking to somebody now. And I left them to it to see what the doctor would say. So I contacted him back at 12 o'clock and asked, had anybody been in contact? And he said no. So I said I would ring the GP again, the surgery, which I did at 12 o'clock. The message that I received on the phone was that they had reached the full capacity of messages for the day, and they couldn't take any more calls.
So just in that situation, was there any further information as to what someone might do in a quasi-emergency? Did they say ring 99?
Yes.
Did they say what advice did they give?
They said then that if it was an emergency, to ring 999, and if you wanted to leave an urgent message, to ring a certain mobile number.
Right.
But I decided at the time it was a bit early to be leaving an urgent message, but I would maybe do that later on if I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted my father back and told him that they've reached capacity for the day, which he then told me that happens a lot, and that I would ring the urgent number if they hadn't rang by 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So we waited for more hours again to see what would happen, and I rang him back at 4 o'clock and no word from the surgery. So I decided to take it upon myself, and I got the urgent message number, and I called it.
Mm-hmm.
And I called it 12 plus times, and nobody answered. So my concern was, if that was a real urgent, there was nobody there to help. I would have had to dial 999. When all my father wanted to do was to talk to a doctor to get my mother seen.
Mm-hmm. What's the situation now? When were you told? Did you manage finally to get to speak to someone?
The GP, no. The receptionist rang my father back about 4:30.
What day was that now?
Yesterday.
Okay, Tuesday.
No, Monday.
Sorry, I beg your
Today's
pardon.
Tuesday.
My mistake. Thanks for keeping me in check, Breed. Go ahead.
And he ended up being told over the phone that, with still not been talking to a GP yet, we will give you an appointment for 12 on Wednesday. I was like, what? So he has waited since Thursday to talk to a GP, and he has still to wait till tomorrow to talk to a GP.
On the phone, or is that an appointment at the surgery?
That's an appointment at the surgery.
Right, okay. But it's still Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's 6-7
Yes.
days.
Yes, it's too long.
Right. Now,
and he is still worrying at home about what's wrong with my mother.
This is probably why people end up in the ED, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, you don't want to roll the dice. You don't want, we can't gamble on our health, but we certainly can't gamble on our parents' health.
Yes.
Like, you have to make a decision. Do we just go to eat, and at least a medical professional will be able to assess the situation?
Yes.
What kind of anxiety is this causing? I think maybe your dad particularly, if I'm reading the room correctly.
Very much, very stressed out, doesn't know where to go to next because he cannot get anybody to help him.
Okay. This is not the first call. Now, we have to make contact with the surgery in question. That's why we're being a bit careful, Breed, and I appreciate you helping us in that regard and just not naming them at the moment, just to give them an opportunity as a right to reply. That's how it works. But you're saying, your dad says, you see, my concern about this situation, Breed, is, say, this is not saying anything negative about your dad, but say you didn't interfere here or intervene.
Yes.
I think our older generation could be more patient and respectful, even if they're anxious. Like, would he ever have got a call back? Would there ever be an appointment for a GP? Do you know where I'm coming from?
Yes, I understand. Now, I will also say that he has gone to the surgery to try and get an appointment as well, face-to-face, and was told to leave and make a phone call for an appointment.
Yeah. I mean, so is this the new norm? If the phone is full, that's it? No more calls today?
That's what I don't understand. My main concern yesterday at 12 o'clock, that I have my own children. What if I had got a phone call from school that something had happened to my child and I needed a doctor? I would not have been able to get one.
See,
I would have had to go to any.
I mean, am I looking backwards with rose-coloured glasses? Was the GP not sort of even in the event of a hospital emergency, that the GP perhaps would be able to come and provide some sort of a care before an ambulance arrived? Like this just feels very different now. I mean,
it does. It's all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, and you're speaking out, and there's people listening here have gone through the exact same thing, and they, for their own reasons, and I respect them fully, don't speak out publicly. But an awful lot of this is going on. I know, Breed, because I'm contacted privately about it, and it's difficult. It's difficult because
difficult.
How do you cover it?
I was nervous about doing it as myself, about speaking up, but I am just getting so concerned about my mum's health and my father's health due to everything now that he is going through to try and get to see a doctor. And he's not being seen or heard.
Right, by pure coincidence, this is the same surgery we're talking about. This is from another listener. This came in around the same time as your comment, Breed, just so you know you're not on your own.
Okay.
I'll read what they have to say. My entire community has an issue with the GP practice in getting anyone to answer the phone. Can anyone explain why this is still happening? When I get an answer, it says we've reached our capacity for today, regardless of calling at 9 a.m. or 4 p.m. At 9 a.m. today, I was told I'd be called back. They did. The phone rang once and they hung up. They give you an emergency number, but that's also met with, why are you calling this number? So today, when I complained about the system and the message, I called again and the message was changed to, we are experiencing a high volume of calls. I had to take a day off to try to get this appointment and it got nowhere. But I can ring another practice and get an answer. So in this particular case, and as I say, we're making our inquiries, Breed. That's another caller with a very similar situation. Right, listen, leave it with us, Breed. We'll see what's going on, see what explanation we get. Pass on, well, not pass it on, but I just know that my best wishes are with your mom, and I know your dad. I know what he's going to be going through as well, worrying about his significant other. Thank you for helping us highlight it, and leave it with us as much as we can, trying to gonna chase this up.
Thank you.
All right, take care. And best wishes and speedy recovery to your mum. I'm in the same boat, says this caller. I have been calling my GP for weeks and the phone just seems to ring out. One day I held on for 41 minutes. In the end, I gave up. I called one day to speak to the GP. I had to pay €30. When did all this start? Surely a phone consultation should be free. Keep them coming into us on 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'd be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'd be them. 07491 43942.
There's something for every kind of dad at Lidl this week. Whether it's our incredible electric hedge trimmer for only $69.99 or our fabulous cordless beard and hair trimmer at only $16.99, it'll be bang on for somebody. So whether he's really into gardening or just really into himself, we've got Father's Day covered. Lidl, more for you.
Keltronic presents Niall Rodgers and Chic for their first Irish date of 2022. Enjoy good times at the Gig of the Summer. Sunday 26th of June, St. Colum's Park, Derry. Get your tickets at keltronicfestival.com.
Tickets are now on sale for Century Complex VIP meal deal, which includes a 2-course meal and backstage, admission to selected movies in Century Cinema's VIP screenings, a combo with popcorn, soft drink and a free refill, all for $33.95 per person. For further information and to get your tickets, visit centurycinemas.ie.
You tune to the 9 till noon show where we bring you the stars. Great reaction to the Garth Brooks interview. Appreciate it. All right, over to another star now. You're kind of used to him though, but he still shines brightly. It's the one and only Donald Kavanagh with the news headlines. Good morning, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The price of petrol and diesel here has again hit record levels according to a Roadwatch Ireland's average. Litre of petrol is now €2.13 per litre. A litre of diesel is €2.05. Prices at some Donegal forecourts considerably higher than that, with petrol hitting €2.20 on some pumps. Fuel prices went up 11% in the past fortnight, according to the AA. The EU is expected to resume legal proceedings over what it sees as previous UK breaches of the Brexit deal. The European Commission is also warning it'll take proportionate action over yesterday's decision to proceed with a unilateral initiative to unpick parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. 52 of Stormont's 90 MLAs have written to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying they reject his government's new protocol legislation, which they describe as reckless. However, the DUP says majority rules is not a factor in Northern Ireland politics, and the letter is pointless. Crumbling homes in Limerick and Clare are set to be included in the defective blocks redress scheme. It's being discussed by Cabinet today, with Minister Darragh O'Brien asking ministers to extend the scheme to the two new counties in addition to those affected by the crisis in Donegal and Mayo. It means a further 2,000 homes will come under the new scheme. The cost will rise to around €2.7 billion. The new scheme, to be presumably agreed by Cabinet today, will then come before the Dáil on this day week, June 21st. Gardaí are seeking information about two collisions in recent days in Donegal, one of which left a motorcyclist in hospital in Buncrana. That happened in the early hours of Sunday morning. The other was an apparent hit and run in Ballybofey last week, which caused significant damage. Meanwhile, Gardaí are investigating 3 criminal damage incidents over the past number of days, one in Ramelton on Saturday last, the others in Ballybofey on the previous Thursday. More on all of those incidents available on our website, highlandradio.com. The government is expected to push for anti-inflation measures ahead of a demand for public sector workers' pay increase. Talks are underway at the Workplace Relations Commission. It's expected unions will call for more money to match current inflation. However, the government is believed to be on the verge of offering a smaller increase and measures to reduce the cost of services such as health and childcare. And there were over 28,000 disclosures of abuse against women and over 5,700 disclosures of abuse against children reported to Women's Aid last year. New figures reveal there were close to 34,000 domestic abuse disclosures in total made in 2021. That's according to the Women's Aid Annual Impact Report. Volunteers also dealt with more calls last year relating to surveillance and monitoring, humiliation and assaults with weapons. And there the headlines. We're back with headlines again at 12 midday.
All right, Donald, thanks very much indeed.
If you are 65 or over, or you have a weak immune system, you can now get your second COVID-19 booster vaccine. Your vaccine is due 4 months after your last vaccine. It will improve your protection from COVID-19. You can book a vaccination centre appointment on hsc.ie or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. For more information on your second booster or to book an appointment, visit hsc.ie or call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 from the HSE for us all.
Okay, Greg, we're going to the concert in September. We're from Inishowen and are wondering, are there any buses running to the Garth Brooks concert from here? Could you ask for me? Thanks, of course I can. They don't want the dance, they want the bus. Any buses going from the Inishowen area down to see Garth Brooks in September? Another caller says, my brother, who died by suicide, loved the song The Dance. I'm glad you're going to play it. I'll sing it and dedicate it to Philip. The Dance of Life, great meaning. Well, let me dedicate that solely, The Dance, to your lovely brother, Philip. And may he rest in peace. And I'm sure he's always by your side. And we'll play that song specifically for him and thinking on him today. My sister has a year left on a Vodafone contract, and despite calling and explaining she's got no coverage, they just keep cutting her off, saying she's tied into a contract and there's nothing she can do. I believe they're doing this because she is elderly. I've tried to call them, but they say they cannot discuss her contract with me. Is there anything I can do? Right, okay, let me get some advice for you on that. We did get advice. Listen, you can test it. What can you do? Refuse to pay it? I don't know. It's not clear, but listen, we'll try and get you some concrete. If there is a contract, right? They have a contract to you. You have a contract to them. Okay? They're not backing up their campaign. Right. We are going to go to Johnny first to our phone lines. Don't forget you can watch the show now, highlandradio.com. Hop on the website. Right, Johnny, what's your experience, and good morning to you.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
I made an appointment to get the second booster, and I'm in remission from cancer. And I went down to the vaccination centre here. I was online. We booked online, and when I went down, they said they couldn't give me the booster because I'd have to go through my doctor. And it was impossible to get through to my doctor. I'm not going to name who my doctor is, but it's absolutely impossible. The phone's off the hook, or I don't know. So I can't get the second booster. There's an ad on the Highland Radio there saying any vulnerable person can walk in. There's absolutely nobody in here at the vaccination centre. There's 3 people in here.
So you're there at the moment?
I'm there at the vaccination centre here. I had an appointment for 11 o'clock. The staff in there tells me that I can't get the second booster. I have to go through my doctor and get a letter from my doctor. So it's just to let the public know what's happening. That, people might have to travel from maybe any showing or somewhere, or from far distance. Just let them know it.
What about a pharmacy? Did you try any pharmacies, Johnny?
No, I didn't try any pharmacies. This is where I got the
first one,
last 3 injections here, yeah.
Okay, so you are waiting on your second booster. The staff obviously following direction. They say, even though the ads are saying get it, it's important you get it. They've put a lot of money and effort into those ads. You've done the right thing as far as you see. You've turned up and you sat there, twiddling your thumbs because you can't get this second booster.
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly, yeah.
But I would have thought your records would reflect that you are, in remission, that you've had your first, that you're in the vulnerable category group as is dictated.
That's exactly right, yeah.
All right. And did you have to travel? I know you gave the example of coming from the likes of Inishore.
No, I didn't have to. I didn't have too far to travel. No,
right, so you're in and around Letterkenny?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
But you can't get through to your GP to get...
You get through to the White House quicker.
Right, well, maybe Biden might pull a few strings for you if you tried it.
Garth Brooks might have a word there when he was
on. Right. He's got friends in low places. Maybe that's where he needs them, Johnny. Come here. Listen, if we get any advice, in that regard, we'll pass it on to you as soon as we can. Is that all right? Thank you. All right. Listen, thanks very much. That Johnny, following the rules, trying to do the right thing. Told he simply cannot get that jab today. He can't get through to his GP to get referred to go for his second jab. That's wearing on people's patience. You'd almost give up, wouldn't you? Right, Michael, thanks for joining us, Michael. We're talking about, I think read the thrust of your comment out earlier on before the news, but I want to hear it from your own perspective, Michael. You're saying it's not just you. There is a mood in your community, pure frustration as it relates to accessing GP services.
Yeah, good morning, Greg. I didn't realise it wasn't just me until yesterday when... It has happened to me quite a few times now where I couldn't get through to the surgery where their answer machine just says that they've reached their quota of calls for the day. That could be at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock. But once they reach the quota of calls, the receptionist actually told me that they actually physically turn off the phones. So yesterday I called at 9:10 in the morning for an appointment and they said they would ring me back. They didn't ring back. So I rang them back at 12 o'clock and 12:05. They said they would ring back, and then they rang back at about 12:10. But they only let my phone ring once. I had the phone in my hand, ready to answer it. They only let it ring once. They swiped it up, and the phone call just dropped. 1 second is what the call lasted.
I mean, cynically, you could say, right, they've ticked a box there. They could say, well, we tried to call you back, but you didn't answer.
That's exactly what they did say when I went up to the surgery after that. Okay. But, so they hung up. And when I tried to call back then, it was the message again that we've reached our quota of calls for the day. That was it. So I had to leave work and I had to go up to the surgery to find out what was going on. I pressed the buzzer, and the lady in reception was very good, not very helpful at all. Told me that, like you said, that they had rang me and I didn't answer, and that was my fault. That's not their problem, is what you said. And so we just had a bit of a thing then after that. But then I got into my car, started making some phone calls, and in the meantime, another lady approached the door, and she rang the buzzer, and she was in her late 50s, early 60s maybe, and I heard her say that she also had rang at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that they said they would ring her back, and they never rang her back. So then I got out of the car, and I told this lady, that don't listen to that woman saying, because she's telling me lies, about whatever she says, she's telling me lies, and then the lady herself came out from reception. She was actually running out the door to come out and tell me that I wasn't allowed to speak to this lady, that it was a private matter. And just shouting around at me that I'm not supposed to speak to this lady or whatever. Like,
and so it escalated quite significantly there.
Yeah, and then the lady then in question, like you could see she was quite upset. She just got back into the car with her husband and they drove off and never to get an appointment. And I still haven't got my appointment. And I've had to come to
in your particular area, Michael, and as I say, just until such time as we get a comment from the surgery, that's just the way it works on radio. It's kind of different on social media. But I spoke to people who moved to the area recently and were thinking of moving out because they actually couldn't get into a GP. The GP was taking no one on. Where's your nearest option? You know what I mean? Because you can't go, right, stuff this. I'm not happy with the service. I'm going such and such. That's not an option for you, is it?
My only option would be to return to my old practice because I only moved to this area about 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. And I switched all my files, never went over to this surgery. But now I find out that my only option now is to try and get back to where I was, which is it's an hour and 20 minutes away.
Okay.
So easily.
If you had known, you would never have switched, Michael.
I would never have switched. Never.
So what option have you? Because the relationship's a bit frosty between you and the surgery now. What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, Now Doc is my only option, which I called Now Doc last night. And I appreciate they're quite busy or whatever. So they did bring me back, but they were able to tell me this. They wouldn't be able to get to see me this night. I'm not it's not an emergency. I'm not dying. Like, I don't need, but I just need a doctor to have a look at me because sore throat, sore chest. I've got a pressure in my head, and a chest infection. So all I need is to see a doctor to get maybe a prescription and to go and get started. But
get antibiotics. What you have is, now obviously you have to keep chasing up, but you know probably chatting to people. What you have is going around. I've heard people with similar, but you need to make sure there's nothing else going on. I mean, because we're being told as men, aren't we? As soon as you see the signs, get it checked out. Don't ignore it. Get it early. You're there with symptoms that could be a lot of things. You're literally having to argue with the surgery at this point to try and get seen, and you can't. So we're being advised to do something, and then when we try and do it, Michael, we can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that they have no obligation to private patients, and they have very little obligation to medical card holders. Because what I was told yesterday by the medical council was that they only have a contract for what's the HSE for medical card holders. So, like, for me to go and try and make a complaint, it's almost impossible. There is nobody really to talk to make an official complaint about it as a private patient because they don't have to see me. It's their prerogative whether they accept me or not. But for the medical cards, they have their names and they have the numbers. And they have to fulfil their contract. Which, by the way, they're not fulfilling that duty because I have a 3-year-old son. He's going to be on card.
Yeah, okay. Michael, listen, I hope you get well soon. Thank you very much for that. A lot of people think the surgery we're talking about is in their area when it wasn't. So there are people having the same access issues to GPs in different areas. As I say, just at this time, until we can actually verify, because we're talking about a small individual business, which is what it is, we have to be careful. It's different on Facebook or Twitter. You can pretty much say whatever you like, but we have to follow rules as it relates to fairness and right to reply and what have you. So that's what we're constrained by. If the conversation sounds a bit muted, sorry. Hi, Greg. I have an elderly aunt. She was trying to get through to the local GP, but they would not answer the phone for over a week. So I sent them a harsh email, and a doctor phoned my aunt a few hours later to apologise. I'm not sure if this is the clinic your other callers had. It's not. It sounds very much like my clinic, which is in a completely different area, that's being discussed on your programme a few weeks ago when I needed a doctor's appointment. On a Thursday, I went online to try and book the appointment, and the only thing available was receptionist callback on the following Tuesday. A very poor service being provided there. Another, it is the same here, Greg. We really have no doctors because you cannot get through to them, and it's usually a nurse you have to speak to on the phone. If you can get through, if it was an emergency, you wouldn't have such a chance unless you got an ambulance. It's a joke. So is this why, right, with these cases that we're talking about? And if I was Michael's brother, let's just say, for example, and he was complaining of tightness in his chest, a pain in his head, and I couldn't get to see him a GP, I would say, let's just go to the LEH, let's go to the ED. I shouldn't say that, but isn't that what you would do? Waiting for something to happen. We all know someone who's happened, they ignored the signs, and then something happened. Like, that's what you do. So when they talk then about When they talk then about, an unusual high level of admittance to ED over the weekend, 250, how many of those, I wonder, and we can never find out, how many of those are people who couldn't risk it, that they tried to get through to the GP's office but couldn't, and says, you know what, we're going to have to get on. It's quiet at the weekends. Let's go to the ED. It might be quiet at the weekends. Were you one of those people? We're not looking for any private information, but I'm trying to get a sense of what's going on here in this relationship between difficulties in seeing a doctor and then ending up at the hospital. Obviously, there's going to be an element of that, but how can we find out how significant that is? When I asked Sean Murphy this question, the general manager there last year, I think it was at this stage, or early this year or late last year, he said it's not a significant problem. But I speak to other people and they say it is. So let us know. Maybe you're in the ED and you want to blow the whistle. Let us know let us know in confidence. Is this how many people are in ED that really could be seen by a GP? I mean, is the ED prescribing antibiotics at this stage? I don't know. I'm not. But in the absence of us being told categorically, we have to presume. My uncle ran the doctors yesterday. He's 86 years old and told him to come on June the 28th for an appointment. Same surgery as we were speaking to the lady earlier on. 86-year-old man looking for an appointment June 28th. That's 14 days from today, 2 weeks. I know the surgery she's talking about. I use the same surgery. It's a total disgrace. I got the same message yesterday when I rang. Another, I know exactly how she feels. I know the surgery in question. They're a complete joke. I had the same bother with my mum as well, and she's a cancer patient and a lady in the 70s. Okay. I've experienced the same. I've been trying for a week now just to talk to someone. Just to talk to someone. I have chronic bowel problems past 3 years. I'm now unable to keep my food down. My hair is falling out. My weight is 7 stone and I'm unable to get a doctor's appointment. How ill do I have to be to see a doctor? Severe chronic bowel problems for 3 years. Hair falling out. Can't keep food in. 7 stone. I mean, have you seen a consultant, for example, at this point? Have you been for an inspection at the hospital, or what is it you're looking? I don't need to know the answer to those questions, but I hope that that process is ongoing, as well as you needing a more urgent visit with the GP. This caller says, I've been attending a GP quite a few times since December. Every time I have been in, it's been empty. That's no exaggeration, they say. Receptionist told me people are angry on the phones, but that is understandable. They can't get through. One day I rang 61 times before I get through. I just cannot understand it. I mean, that in itself, though, if one person is ringing 61 times, another person's going to be trying to ring 24 times. The phone lines they're unusable, really, aren't they? If you get 4 or 5 people constantly dialing, the phone lines then cease to. I'm not saying you shouldn't, by the way, because you got through and you needed to get through. But very clearly, those phone lines very quickly become defunct. They're of no use if multiple people are constantly trying to ring. Caller says her mother has terrible trouble getting through to her GP to get bloods done. They either won't answer the phone, or when they do, they won't accommodate an appointment, so she has to travel an hour into Letterkenny to get them done. Another, I had to wait over an hour for my bloods to be done. I didn't see a being the whole time I was there. And another, I've had a very positive experience with my GP, and I can't commend my GP enough. The receptionist staff, doctors and nurses have been so good to me and my partner, who've been in quite poor health this past while. And I'm pleased that that's your experience as well, by the way.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights, or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 07497211396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
Mom, we're starving. Can we have crisps?
Like clockwork, just as they're in from school. When did this become an everyday thing?
Please.
Sure, it's only a little treat. No, you're sticking to the new plan. Guys, remember what we agreed. No junk on weekdays. You can have cheese and crackers, yoghurt or toast.
At 3 p.m. on Tuesday, Joanne started with healthier snacks. Let's go easy on the treats. Start with smaller ones less often to keep your family healthy. Find more ways to start at makeastart.ie. Brought to you by Safe Food, the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
CETA, the global leader in technologies enabling safe and seamless global travel, is growing its technical teams in Letterkenny. We are searching for people with a passion for innovation and the technical skills to build the next generation of digital products that will transform the journeys of millions of passengers across the world. Join us at our Tech Open Night at CETA's Letterkenny offices on Thursday, June 23rd between 5:30 and 9 p.m. Discover the digital products that we develop, meet the local teams, and enjoy some food and drinks on us. To attend, please register at ceta.aero/Letterkenny. Come and build the future of travel with us.
OK, now our next guest on the 9 till Noon show is Paddy Agnew, who's the Sunday Independent's Rome correspondent. Paddy, thanks for speaking to us this morning.
Good morning. It's good to talk to you.
It's great to have you on the programme. OK, now there is speculation, isn't there, that Pope Francis may be on the verge of giving up his position. So can you tell us what's been happening over the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, that has sort of maybe fueled that speculation, Paddy?
Well, for the last couple of months, the Pope's mobility has been greatly limited. And recently he's taken turning up at a Vatican event in a wheelchair. He's basically wheelchair bound at the moment. And that's because of a problem he has in his knee. But the speculation heightened a bit when the Vatican announced a few days ago that he wouldn't actually, he had to cancel 2 apostolic visits to Africa, to South Sudan and to the Democratic Republic of Congo. And then yesterday, the Vatican said that he won't be taking part in next Sunday's Corpus Christi, Corpus Domini procession in Rome. So that has heightened the speculation, clearly. If it's one thing for him to be hopping around with a sore knee, it's another thing for him not to be able to do the most important things that he wants to do in his pontificate, and one of those is clearly the apostolic visits, travelling abroad, going to Africa.
Yeah, there is also a trip scheduled to the Holy See. There's a significance to that, a historic significance to that, potentially.
The trip to where?
There's a trip later this year. I don't have the names escaped me. I'll come back to that. It will come to me. Paddy, my apologies on that.
No.
No, it'll come back to me as I go through. This is normally what happens. But this doesn't talk to necessarily serious ill health, does it? If his mobility is restricted, he might feel that he can't, travel as much. I think you've alluded to that. In other words, this is not necessarily an imminent health issue. He might feel that maybe he can't fulfill his duties as he would like.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Greg. It's a mobility issue. I don't think it is an imminent health issue. But the problem is that he's been a very healthy pope for most of his pontificate since he got elected in 2013. But the problem is that the last summer, he had his first major problem health-wise. He had colon cancer. He had to have a fairly serious operation. And that sort of raised a bit of alarms. And then the problem he's got with his knee, he exacerbates an already existing condition of sciatica that he has. So the problems are building up on him. And the problem with his knee is that he's got a ligament problem. He's taking, as we believe, he's taking injections, he's taking a certain amount of therapy, and he probably should have a knee operation, a new knee put in. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to have an operation where he'll go under a general anaesthetic, we believe, because he didn't have a particularly good experience when he had the colon operation last summer. And therefore he is going to try and limp on. Literally in this case, limp on. One thing I should say though, Greg, is that he's no question of him resigning in the short term. And for one very obvious reason, which I think any Catholic can understand, or indeed anybody who follows the papacy, we already have a resigned Pope. Pope Benedict, Pope Emeritus, is still alive. And I can't say he's alive and well, he's alive and very frail. But you couldn't have a situation in which you had 3 popes in Rome. You had the guy in St. Peter's and 2 retired popes around. So that won't happen. But Francis has said in the past that if he felt he wasn't up to the job, he would retire. But I think that's for further down the road. I think we could be talking about this time autumn of next year, actually, would be my suspicion.
And is the groundwork being put in place with the creation of new cardinals?
Yeah. Well, the Pope, every Pope regularly has consistories, those meetings where he awards the red hat, and he has to. The Cardinals College has to have a number of 120 elector cardinals. Those are cardinals allowed to vote, because once you're over 80, you're no longer allowed to vote as a cardinal. And given that the cardinals are all elderly men, they need to be replaced. You have to keep topping up the number of people in the College of Cardinals, and Francis did that 2 weeks ago, and he at this point he's appointed 83 out of the 132 cardinal electors. So he's appointed practically 2/3 of the College of Cardinals, and you would suggest that the guy who follows on from him will. Given that he's appointed the vast majority of the electors, that he'll be somebody who shares his
like-minded
church standards.
Yeah,
he's like-minded, progressive, but doesn't always work out that way.
Okay, and apologies, that thing I was referencing earlier on, it's an event in August, a festival which was established by Benedict the 16th, which he announced he was stepping down.
Greg, no, that's a good thing to bring up, because that has added to the amount of speculation. Let's put it very simply: when 4 years before he resigned, Pope Benedict went to L'Aquila, the place where there was an earthquake in 2009, and he prayed at the tomb of Pope Celestine V. And Celestine V in 1259 was the last guy to resign before Benedict in 2013. And while he was there, Benedict prayed at his tomb, and he left a pallium on a papal, like a papal scarf on the tomb, and nobody paid any attention to it. But after he'd resigned, everybody was jumping in hindsight, was saying, "Oh, he gave us an indication that he's going to resign by doing that." I don't know if he did really, but the point is that Francis is also going to L'Aquila at the end of August, in the middle of the consistory that for the appointment of his new cardinals, and people were putting 2 and 2 together, making 22, and saying, "Oh, well, that means he's going to resign too." It doesn't necessarily mean that.
And that is precisely why you're the Sunday Independent's Rome correspondent and I'm not, Paddy. Finally, and this is just in my own space here, I just remember, growing up through the 80s and 90s, news like this would have been, headline news or the talk of the town. Do you know what I mean? Amongst people. I don't feel that anymore. What has changed, or is it that just my perception, Paddy? It just doesn't feel like it would have if we were having this type of conversation. It just feels like it would have been leading the BBC News or something. Do you know what I mean? It's just not there now, I don't think.
Well, it's certainly the importance of the church in some countries, particularly Ireland. A lot of people don't give a damn basically about what the church says or doesn't do. So there's to some extent a disinterest there, but there's also the fact that he's been an extraordinarily innovative pope in many ways, but the novelty, I suppose, for a lot of people after 9 years is beginning to wear off, the question, if you go on about Pope's health, it can take a long time. I mean, I did my first interview with RTE about John Paul II 10 years before John Paul II's death, about 10 years before he died.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
It went on, that speculation went on for a good decade.
Yes, okay. Paddy, listen, thanks for your time this morning. It's been an education. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
It's our pleasure to have you on. Paddy Agnew, Sunday Independent Rome correspondent there, 086 60 25,000. More of you commenting on the GP's situation. This caller says, I had a brother who rang his GP at 9 a.m. and said it was urgent, under the illusion the doctor was coming out to him because he was in too much pain. It went on until 3 o'clock. I rang the doctors again and they had no record of a doctor coming to visit and offered an over-the-phone prescription. We couldn't risk it, so we went to the ED. I'll just drop this latest comment. Okay. Population is getting bigger and GPs are getting fewer in number due to retirement, and other GPs aren't there to fill in their boots. This needs to be sorted out ASAP. Looks like the Irish are second-class citizens now in their own country. I was waiting on this for us taking Ukrainian refugees to be blamed. A lot of these problems we've been talking about long before the Ukraine situation. It's going to exacerbate it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not denying that for a second. But we've been talking about difficulties in getting through to GPs for the last 2 or 3 years. And before that, but particularly in the last couple of years, and how they changed their practices. But look at... good morning, Greg. I went for my second booster on Friday. Walk in, welcome, but I was asked as well, do you have your letter with you? I said I don't know I needed one. Thankfully, I rang my surgery, they got me a letter, had to go back in the evening, but I got the booster. Okay, right. They should mention that in the adverts, though. You know, contact, maybe they do, maybe we miss, sometimes we don't hear, even though we're listening, but I don't recall hearing in the adverts from the HSC that you have to go to your GP to get your second booster. That would be good information to have in there.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure has everything you need for getting fit in 2022. From training gear to resistance bands, skipping ropes, weights and foam rollers, we have all the essentials to see you through every step of your fitness journey from training to recovery. Shop our range of gym wear, equipment and accessories at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Mom, we're starving. Can we have crisps?
Like clockwork, just as they're in from school. When did this become an everyday thing?
Please.
Sure, it's only a little treat. No, you're sticking to the new plan. Guys, remember what we agreed. No junk on weekdays. You can have cheese and crackers, yoghurt or toast.
At 3 p.m. on Tuesday, Joanne started with healthier snacks. Let's go easy on the treats. Start with smaller ones less often to keep your family healthy. Find more ways to start at makeastart.ie. Brought to you by Safe Food, the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
Escape to the Algarve from the City of Derry Airport with Atlantic Travel this August. Free airport parking is available exclusively when you book with Atlantic. For your stress-free summer holiday on the Algarve, call Atlantic Travel in Letterkenny today on 9126193.
Rally fever is building in the Northwest. Join Highland Radio for live coverage of the Donegal International Rally, on air and online at highlandradio.com, in association with Pulse Venue Letterkenny, your entertainment headquarters over Rally Weekend, with One for the Road, the Tumbling Paddies and Mark McCabe on Rally Friday.
I've great news for everyone who's looking for a good night's sleep. Restex Beds are looking forward to welcoming you to their brand new showroom at Mountaintop Letterkenny. It's one of the biggest and best bed and mattress showrooms in the Northwest and has fantastic opening offers now in store. Restex is the most trusted name in beds and mattresses in the Northwest. Why don't you call in and get the bed of your dreams at Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny.
The door for claiming High Court redress on homes built with defective blocks is closing. If you've been affected, you must act now to get justice. Don't, and your claim, like your house, could crumble. To discuss your options with our legal team at the Gateway Hotel Bungrana on the 15th or 16th of June, email defectiveblocks@colemanlegal.ie or call 01 531 3800. Participation is free of charge. Defective Blocks Ireland, building the case for rebuilding your home.
Hi, Greg. This is, and we got a picture of it sent through to us. And they look so fresh. 2 tickets for Garth Brooks, but with the envelope this listener has, but unfortunately they're no use. These are my Garth Brooks tickets for the 2014 cancelled concerts. I still keep them safe to this day. Unfortunately, I couldn't get tickets this time as all was sold out in a flash. But I will still travel to Dublin with my guitar in tow to hear from outside the stadium in the faint hope I might see him and, God willing, get him to sign my guitar. Well, here's hoping. That's a big Garth Brooks fan. There are 20,000 tickets being released on Thursday. Maybe if you can, you might be interested in. Seeking tickets there. Right. Okay. More travel chaos could be looming as Ryanair's Spanish staff are set to strike. Owen Corrie, editor of Air and Travel magazine, back on the show. Owen, good morning to you.
Oh, it's a great pleasure, Greg.
Now, Owen, Ryanair, as they kind of tend to do, playing this down. Before we get to that, what's the issue with the Ryanair staff in Spain?
It's the second and third of the cabin crew unions, Greg. A bit of background to this. Ryanair recognised unions 2017. What they did was they signed up agreements in the 20-odd countries that they fly to with the largest pilots union, the largest cabin crew union. That left sort of a group of smaller unions, a bit disgruntled about that. And this is what's at foot here. They signed a big agreement with the CCOO, the biggest of the trade unions in Spain in May. 2 of the unions who had been negotiating and pulled out in negotiations are disputing that. They say that some of their members are going to the larger union and they've called a strike to try and basically put themselves back into the negotiation process, and possibly because this is, strikes are always complicated. They're a little bit more than just a straightforward issue. Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister, hopefully a socialist Prime Minister, hopefully get him involved and lobby to get a few more forces, a little bit more pressure on Ryanair.
No, I mean, obviously we wish the staff well in their endeavours, but people will go, well, what's the impact on this for me? I'm due to fly out around about this time, June 24th to July 2nd. So what may, if any, the impact be for people travelling to or through or around Spain?
Definitely not chaos. Our previous history, our experience of strikes, and there were quite a few through the summer of 2018, 2019, more than 300 unions negotiated with Ryanair, remember, across the network, has been that none of them had any impact on the network. We've got a French strike this morning that stopped 20 flights, I think, and there are 2,400 flights in the air. So if Ryanair, for instance, of their 7 flights from Malaga, if they lose one of them, they will be able to bring aircraft in from other sides, from other places. And the union will, one of the unions is hoping for pilot support, but the real politic of aviation trade union. And remember, in the private sector, the most unionised part of the private sector really is aviation. It's one of the few areas in the private sector that still has strong trade unions. They were hoping for pilot support. And the real politic of trade union and aviation is that pilots have a lot of power. Cabin crew tend not to have the same power.
Mostly fly the planes, but the cabin crew are important too. It probably has nothing to do with this, but obviously my understanding is Ryanair retained a lot of its staff whilst other airlines let them go. If that is the case, has that worked in an advantageous or disadvantageous way for Ryanair?
It's worked hugely advantageous in getting aircraft back in the sky. Their British Airways had to cancel a lot of flights while they went through a recruitment process. Other airlines went into a big queue to recertify aircraft that had been grounded. Ryanair kept them flying and they kept their staff going, even though the numbers didn't justify it. So they could be, as Michael O'Leary said to me once, we want to be nimble and return quickly to the market. That's what they've done. They've increased market share. They're now by a distance, the largest airline by passenger numbers across Europe. Some of their plans went awry. They'd hoped for a big market share gain in Germany. That didn't work out. But they're very strong in Spain. They've 10 bases there. They fly 50 million passengers a year in Spain. And they're very strong in Italy as well. They're the dominant player in both those markets. That means that's a big problem for trade unions who usually, Iberia was and Alitalia were very heavily unionised. almost all the cabin crew were unionised there. So there's a lot of members there, and 3 trade unions competing for them. And the Commissione Europea are the ones that have signed the deal with Ryanair, 5 days on, 3 days off, €1,000 pay increase, all of that. So those sort of advantages haven't been available to the other 2 unions that have threatened to strike. Now, what may happen between now and then is Ryanair says, come on in, we'll give you the same deal as the major union did, but there's also an independent arbitration process which the unions say they engaged in and Ryanair didn't. So a lot of the sort of stuff you expect in a spat like this, Greg.
All right, finally, this is by the by. I note, when Ryanair have big announcements, if you're listening to UK radio, British radio, you hear O'Leary on speaking on behalf of Ryanair. In Ireland, not so much. I haven't really heard him much on the Irish Airways, in a news capacity, but he's all over the likes of 5 Live, Radio 4 and so on. Is there anything to that, or is that just when I happen to be listening to the radio, I wonder?
Really, I mean, Michael will emerge for, he puts his head over the parapet every 3 or 4 months. He almost manages his appearances, and he will concentrate them on the bigger markets. You'll see him on even US television, Bloomberg a lot. And he also has relationships with individual
so we're too small fry for him.
Not really, because he'll do news talk before he'll do RT. People he likes and the people he don't. But you will see him a bit on English media. Eddie Wilson is the CEO of Ryanair, and this is relevant to the trade union dispute we're talking about. Eddie Wilson is CEO of Ryanair, not just Ireland, but the group Ryanair Group through Europe. Because of his reputation with dealing with trade unions and with employees down the years. What Michael O'Leary did was moved up to this sort of presidential role where he's over Loud-Air and others. He got that idea from Willie Walsh. He was really impressed how Willie Walsh stepped upstairs to IAG and left BA and Iberia and Aer Lingus and Welling on their own. And he must have, decided he wanted to do what Willie Walsh did, except it all went awry. Michael is a micromanager, and he still gets involved in every single detail of the 4 airlines.
Well, who needs to speak to Michael O'Leary when we've got Owen Corrie? Thank you very much, Owen.
Always a great
Appreciate it. Take care of yourself. He's editor of Air and Travel magazine. So fear not, if you're planning a trip to Spain, you lucky duck, between June 24th and July 2nd, though could be too warm, could it? Then you are in for a little bit of... Do you know people out there who hear a national weather forecast and then they say, "Oh, it's going to be boiling up here in at the weekend, Friday, Saturday. Heat wave is coming," and they're listening to the weather forecast for the whole country, mostly the south and Dublin, and they then spread this rumor and get your hopes up that the weather's going to be just out of this world, and then you give out and go, "The weather was terrible. It's Met Aaron's fault," but it's not. It's your friend who was listening to the weather. I think we all have one of them that listening to the national weather and apply that to Donegal, because the south of the country is going to get some great weather over the next few days into the weekend. Our weather's not going to be bad, but we are going to be cooler, windier, and the odd shower as well over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But do you have people in your life that you have to say, "No, that's not the weather for here. That's the weather for down the country. Put the barbecue back in the shed, please." All right, we're going to be speaking to our next guest after this short message.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. 10 million euros worth of stock in store and ready to take home. All tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything slashed in price. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Ireland's biggest range, best prices, and in store to take home today. Sale extended until Sunday.
New this week in Home Store and More. All summer duvets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price summer duvets are gone, they're gone. Also, all outdoor cushions are still half price. But when all our half-price outdoor cushions are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Driving a Fiat 500e is choosing an all-new, all-electric car with an impressive range and 0 to 80% fast charging in 30 minutes. It's choosing a car that's so full of tech it will confidently and safely drive you into the next decade. It's choosing to believe in a better tomorrow. Welcome back, future. Fiat 500e prices start at €24,995 after government subsidies. Book a test drive at Joseph Doherty Limited, Moville, or visit fiat.ie.
123 212 321? No, 222 is the magical 3-digit number plate for July. iMotors have Kia and Nissans available for immediate delivery. If you're thinking of changing your car or upgrading, make sure to call in to us today in Letterkenny or Malin, or visit our website, imotors.ie.
Derrickfest, Castle Derrick, Friday the 29th of July, featuring Derek Ryan, Johnny Brady, Jimmy Donnelly, all under the big top tent. For ticket information, check out Derrickfest Music Festival Facebook page.
This ad is kindly sponsored by Sayers Engineering, Castle Derrick.
So if you were listening yesterday, you would have heard that we had Dr. Denise McCartan on. She was speaking about a webinar on parental alienation, which is taking place in the coming days. That was followed by another caller who described herself as a researcher and made some remarks that parental alienation is being weaponized by some to punish women. And also that there was, her claim was, a worrying ideology kind of behind it. Now, she had her say, and I kind of was there to put the opposing view to that. But John was listening. He joins us on the show now. John, thanks for coming on. Good morning to you.
Hi.
Right, so you reject the fact that fathers are using courts to target mothers?
Having been through the court system myself, it's not the place to go to do that. It's a demoralising place to be. It's your second caller's use of terms of ideology. It's the same mantra that is brought out every time parental alienation is brought up.
Yeah, it's a peculiar one, isn't it? Because as I say, I've covered this over the years, but I just thought this was about let's do what's best for the children here, rather than having an argument about who's responsible or who's worse or what the background or the ideology might be. I would have just thought, no, hold on, this is still not helping children. Let's just help the children what's best for them, and that's going to be best for the parents too, you'd imagine.
It's basic. I mean, you can go into the percentages of how many of the people in the court are mothers, how many are fathers. There are always children involved. And people like her seem to ignore that fact. There's also further family members, grandparents don't see their kids.
Cousins, it's going to have a ripple effect through uncles, the extended family.
It's a ripple effect. Effectively, those kids end up losing half their families. And, to sit and say, oh, this is one gender doing it against another gender. It's not. I have plenty of female friends, mothers who are having this done to them. This isn't a gendered issue. As I said, it happens whether it's a mother doing it or a father doing it. It's wrong. It's basically, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, because I just found that
the children are being damaged, and it's the long-term damage to the children that is the problem. They fall into similar relationships with themselves, and they continue the cycle.
You see, I don't know if it came across in the conversation yesterday, but as soon as it started going down that road, I was like, hold on, this is just arguing around the peripheries here. This is not actually talking about the one thing, which is, what's best for parents as well, but what's best for children. Start going, it's connected to this person and this person believes this. I'm like, no, I don't understand that. And then people arguing on Twitter. I'm tired and sick and tired of looking at people arguing on Twitter. Let's just get off the social media and fix the problems.
Yeah, I mean, you can say it's an ideology, you can say it's this or that or the other. Ultimately, it's child abuse. And I mean, how you can argue around the outskirts of it, I really just can't comprehend that. As I said, if somebody wants to bring somebody to court in order to prove something regarding that, I don't know. It's not the place to do it, trust me.
Are you able to talk to us about, not the specifics of a court appearance, but what talking about access and custody is like in a court? They're in camera, is it Is it cordial? Is it accusations flying all over the place from the people you talk to? Like, what is that experience like as far as you?
There's nothing cordial about it. I mean, effectively, I think there's the judiciary are blasé about it. I mean, to me, it seems like they just see two fighting parents, and they don't look at the damage that is being done to the children. There is more training coming into it now. I've been through the courts for several years. It's a different place possibly now than it was, but it's only getting there because of, what other people have been through and the fact that parents are now standing up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a long way to go. But I mean, the simple basis of it is a child doesn't reject a parent for no reason. And if you're coming to court and saying, the child doesn't want to see him, or using language like, I'm not going to force the child to see him or her, then that should be alarm bell.
But the system should also be able to make sure that no child is placed in a dangerous situation with an adult. Be it the mother or father. Like, I don't think that should be something that means we can't move forward. Like, the system should be such that is found out. No one would expect a child to be with an abusive parent.
Exactly.
But that should be part of making sure the child is first and everything is best for the child that can be best for the child.
Exactly. But the problem is budgets and spending money to make sure that happens. At the end of the day, to me, the court is a last resort. But if the other parent isn't engaging in mediation or anything else like that, then that's where you end up. It has to be that you don't get the choice not to engage in mediation, or there has to be a pathway before you reach the courts. But the bottom line is, by the time you reach the courts, parents are entrenched. The abuse has gone on for a while. When you get to court, you're then adjourned for another month or another 3 months, and it's an ongoing cycle, and it is frustrating to deal with.
Yeah. Does it end, or is it ongoing? Oh, not you. As I'm very careful not to so to speak, but I'm just wondering, does the process ever end? Is it always ongoing?
I don't think the process. I don't think it ever ends in terms of, unless there is a result in court that is favourable to the parent. I don't see, or it's rarely the case, that the parent who is alienating the child stops trying to, or suddenly has a light bulb moment and going, I'm doing wrong here, I'll stop. Yeah, that never ceases to stop.
I've said this before on this programme. Do you think we need a change of terminology? Is parental alienation kind of been a toxic term? Do you get where I'm coming from? I just think if we could find a different way to describe it, like.
Helen Woodall was on one of the other podcasts, and she said basically that she no longer argues about the term parental alienation because she knows it exists.
Right.
And she's not getting into that debate.
Okay.
She calls it induced psychological splitting. It's basically, groups on different sides have used it as a terminology to batter the other side with. Yeah. And
see, this what happens is it's the argument, parental alienation. The argument is not actually about access to children.
You can argue about the words, but you can't argue about the abuse that's going on.
Okay. Right, listen, John, thanks for Dermot. Sorry, thanks for your insight. I appreciate it. All right, take care of yourself. Right, okay, let's go to Paul now. Hiya, Paul.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. You're in a devastating situation.
Yes, and I come from this in a very simplistic background, and I have no life experience, and I didn't know or understand what parental alienation was until 15 months ago, and since then it has been life-changing, life-devastating is the only way I can describe it. And people can argue about whether it exists or not, but what's very fundamentally clear from the few people that I do know that's in the process of this is our broken hearts are very, very real. The loss and the impact of not being able to communicate, speak, see, hold, love freely your children.
Is it like a bereavement?
It's very, very real. So I describe this as the Walking Dead. We are the walking dead as parents. Our children are the walking dead as they too are grieving the loss of a parent. And what society needs to realise, and if we look back in time and we see all the horror cases that happened regarding institutionalised abuse and abuses that occurred within our society over the decades gone by, everybody knew it was occurring. It was the unspoken about. Today, in real time, of all your listeners to this programme, they know a family splitting up or separating, or where Johnny doesn't get to see Mammy or Johnny doesn't get to see Daddy because Mammy and Daddy don't allow it, or whichever. I don't want to make this about a men or women issue, because there is mothers equally as fathers with broken hearts, and everybody knows, and the silence allows it to be condoned and allows it to be this undercurrent amongst our communities, amongst our children of don't speak to Daddy or don't speak to Mammy. I'm particularly poignant about the weekend that's coming up because it's Father's Day. And since I've found out what parental alienation is, there is 3 mothers and there's 4 fathers who could no longer take the pain or the grief that they experienced and have left this world. So I want people to remember when they're discussing this topic, and when abuses were discussed in the past, the line sight of the child was lost. It should not be lost in this debate, because for every broken-hearted parent, mother or father out there, there is an equally broken-hearted child or children lost, looking and wondering why they are in this position. And make no mistake, and you can talk to all the experts in the world, but if you look at a child knows nothing about being mean or harm thought. A child's natural instinct is to love, be affectionate.
And to be loved as well.
Absolutely. But to turn away without reason should have alarm bells going off within all our systems. But they don't.
Okay.
And as time is lost in court and reports, etc., etc., etc.
And the damage is done in the process as well, even if eventually some sort of resolution is found. Okay, listen, Paul, unfortunately I have to cut across you to end the show, but I appreciate you ending it with me. Thank you. And maybe you are an adult now who I haven't heard really from people who would see themselves as victims of parental alienation as the child. Maybe you've now come into adulthood and you might want to talk to us about that. 086 60 25,000. Right, okay, on that somber note, we have to leave it for today. Thank you to all of you who took the time to listen to the programme, text in, call in. Those of you who watched on our social media, really appreciate it, all of you. We're back with you bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 with another packed 3 hours to hopefully make your mornings a little bit